Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast brought to you by the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Hunter.
And today we are going to be going over the widely anticipated, now pre-orderable Death in Space from
I see you
Workshop.
got two of them. Ryan likes it so much he has two of them.
Well, you first of all, you know me. You know that if something has a special edition Kickstarter exclusive cover, I'm going to buy it. So if any of you creators out there specifically targeting me, do a special edition. So I had to get it. And for those in podcast land, I do have two books in my hands. I got the 99% Void Safe. Also, for those in podcast land that can't see, this dope t-shirt I'm wearing right now, which is also the 99% Void Safe t-shirt.
It's the Death in Space t-shirt for those of you
who are just listening. It is the Death in Space t-shirt, obviously. Yeah, obviously, because we're doing Death in Space today. Anyway, how are you doing this morning, Hunter?
You know, I'm sleepy, guy. I was up late working on the project, but I'm feeling good. I'm drinking my water. I got some coffee next to me. I'm surrounded by these fucking cats. Well,
that sounds terrible.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm sleepy because it's my bedtime. If we were going to be something besides a weekly scroll, I'd think we'd be like the Sleepy Boys or something, like.
Bro, honestly, we are both like chronically tired. I mean, I'm doing this course right now that and most of my time is just like I just stay up late. I'm fucking coding, bro. I'm on like line 500, and I'm like, wait, what did I fuck up forever ago? But yeah, it's good. That's good.
Good. I think, didn't we joke at one point about calling this like the Good Morning, Good Night podcast or something? Because you're waking up and I'm going to bed. Yeah. So, anyway, we're doing Death in Space today. I'm very excited about this. I know we went over the physical rewards when I got them, but we'll probably go over them again when we start. But for today, we are going to do what we almost always do, and we're going to kickstart the podcast. And I have some.
We're going to kickstart this motherfucking podcast.
Let's do it. I have some physical rewards. We're on the physical reward window for those watching the vodcast. First, 2022 and maybe like the second half of 2021 feels like space is kind of like the overarching wave in tabletop role-playing games. You know what I mean?
We're all trying to leave this fucking planet, so...
There you go. But Death in Space was backed and has come out for backers and everything like that. But obviously Mothership kind of blew the fuck up last year, or at least their campaign did. And a lot of 1E stuff came out during Zine Quest. Something that came out...
and I got all of it.
Yeah. Something that came out, I think prior to that, because this ended in March, is this right here, what's in my hand. It's called Andromeda. It is cool. For the Mothership horror RPG, obviously, sci-fi horror. It's about the Andromeda hub station. And it is a small zine that is set in the midst of it's a module in the form of a small zine set in the midst of a union dispute gone wrong as unknown horrors are unleashed from deep within the bowels of the station. Sounds awesome. It's a small little zine.
Union dispute? That sounds like Mothership.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's a relatively short module. What I love about it is two things. One, you can't see it on podcast land, but it's all printed in this like nice green, very tech-looking color. But as part of the thing, you could also back for a little flashlight. It says Andromeda Company Property, do not remove from station. But it's not a flashlight, it's a black light. And all of the green on the stuff glows in the black light. It's pretty sweet. So,
has
and
that
not only
same
that,
feel like visually as like everything Mothership has this feel like you're looking at a really old like shitty computer monitor that only has like that, like it's all black with that green text on it. Like,
it's just that old school DOS text. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What I really dig about it too is I guess this is a normal thing to do with the way this works. The way that the zine is folded, it's actually one giant piece of paper. So you can fold it out into the cover and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages if you count the back. But you can unfold it in such a way, there's like a cut in the middle, that the whole backside is a map and NPCs and the rest of the adventure and everything. which is super fucking cool. So you can pack a lot of content, on what amounts to probably 4x6 when you fold it up into the book. And I figured out how to fold it back up correctly relatively well. There you go. But again, all lit up by black light that you actually got with the project. Super cool. It's relatively inexpensive. It's from Leyline Press. I'm hoping this is available for people going forward. It's a really, really cool little module. And just honestly, regardless, it's like the design of the thing itself is fucking cool. Like it just feels mothership, which is dope. And that's pretty much it for physical rewards. Do you want me to hit my Kickstart first, or do you want to go with yours?
Yeah, I also technically have physical reward, but you already went over it. I have Xeno. I received it, so.
Oh, you got yours?
There must have been a mistake with the ordering because I have 2 paperbacks.
Did you get 2 paper? Did you order 2 paperbacks?
That was what was giving me my link, but then I had a separate link for a hardback. So I actually have a hardback on the way as well. So we're probably gonna do a giveaway with this because I have one of the paper. Oh, I have the essential manual, and then I have the actual full game paper color, and then I have the hardback, which will be here I think in like 2 days.
Wait a minute, there's a separate book for an essential manual?
Yeah, I have the essential manual, which I think is just the stripped down like ultra basic. So I think that's the one we should.
We could totally do that. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna give since I'm getting the hard cover, I think I'm gonna give the soft cover to my co-DM, GM referee from that group I play with. So. Well,
and I also have a soft cover and a hard cover, and I'm cool giving away the soft. So we might have a couple of giveaways whenever we do.
Might have what are we giving you? Are y'all watching? We're gonna give you guys shit.
Yeah, somebody.
All nine of you.
What about your? Then I'll go ahead and go through my.
Yeah, do your thing, and I'll do my thing. Then you do your other thing because you got 2 things, right?
I got 2 things. I got a couple of things. Okay. So my online campaign today is Osarium, an OSR Bestiary Volume 1, Beast of the Dying Lands. It is a bestiary zine with reference cards, VTT assets, and STL files to bring the beasts to the table for Merkborg. And Merkborg with friend of the show Johan Nor. It's this cool game that kind of blew up tabletop role play
really
game.
Niche, like indie.
Yeah, pretty small. No one really knows about it. It's not like they just did like a massive miniatures campaign that also fucking blew the fuck up. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. If this is what the book looks like when I'm scrolling through the page again for you podcast people, it looks like there's red foiling on the front cover, which is amazing, and the cover is a series of of creatures on the front. So each creature is presented with original illustration, stats, abilities, lore, details. And it's not just a bestiary. It's an ongoing mission to seek out each creature. It's thematically appropriate. It gives locations across a map for all of the things. You can actually use it to create an adventure because I think a lot of people... I don't know if a lot of people realize that Merkborg has these like kind of mini rules within it that you could just do like a monster hunting game. Like all of the monsters,
monster parts have a gold value.
Have values. You can just like go collect parts if you want. You could just do a whole monster hunting campaign. So this feeds into that a little bit. And it's also compatible with Forbidden Psalm, which is also created by another friend of the show. Really, really cool. Forbidden Psalm, as you know, is releasing another one of their campaigns soon, set in World War One. Was it?
Oh yeah, they have
the Last War.
They have another one.
Yeah. The Last War.
He's another one coming out too, doesn't he?
He's got like 18 million other things, but everything he does is awesome.
The Last War I backed already, I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think the next one from him has come out yet. But yeah, friend of the show, Kevin Rochman, from Forbidden Psalm. So lots of friends of the show on this project. This is put up by New Year Studios, who also recently put out that giant pack of like item cards and a million other things like the dice and stuff. It was a huge campaign, super successful. And again, with this one, you can also back a lot of their other projects as well. But it's packed with illustrations, tables, mechanics. There's a lot of there's a lot of on the page, some examples of the creatures. It all looks amazing. And one of the coolest things about it, you also can get STL files for printing the creatures if you want, which is dope. But, and reference cards, I'm still scrolling, you get booster packs of reference cards.
Ooh.
Animated VTT assets. So the tokens themselves,
Very cool.
if you see this one, animated, super dope.
That's really cool.
Probably best for Foundry because really Roll20 can't handle anything animated, right?
Listen.
But now we're getting to what makes me really want this super bad is the stretch goals. Every $600 past the funding goal unlocks a new artist. So a new person will be adding a monster. So they've already unlocked a bunch of people. Kayla Klein, Christian Icorn, who, you know, we have talked about and backed his projects many times here. One of our favorite content creators. They recently had a project called The Black Book that just finished funding. Great. Friend of the show, Johan Noor, has already been unlocked. Perplexing Ruins, who does some amazing content. If you don't know Perplexing Ruins, go check his stuff out. It is fantastic. He did the adventure module Darkness Moves. He did Demon's Bane. He did Tomb. All amazing. Asterlich has done a lot of projects we've already backed. They're unlocked. You might like this.
Really?
Emmanuel, Mello, the guy who is doing Cyberpunk, or one of the people involved with Cyber Plus Punk, has already been unlocked. And there are a number of other people within the community, including like Tyler Lindsay, and he did the Using Dead Things supplement, and a couple other people here, Rugos Kohn, Gaspo, and Tommy Sunzenhauer. Are also possibilities to unlock. So they've done a lot.
Names, bro. You should be dropping names on this shit, dog.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Well, they have brought together some of the best people in Merkborg and in ttrpgs to put together this project. So, I mean, I backed it immediately when I saw it to begin with, but as soon as I saw all of these stretch goals for these amazing content creators, obviously I had to back it too. So this project seems super badass. It is funded, but the more funding it can get, the more awesome creators can be added to the project. So you should definitely go do that. They are currently at 10,817 of a $6,000 goal. I don't know the math because 600 is not a round number, but hopefully they're close to more backers. It's got 9 days left to go. So definitely have the option to hit 3 or 4 more backers, 3 or 4 more artists. So check this out. Ossarium, Ossarium, then OSR Bestiary, Beasts of the Dying Lands. Amazing project is what it looks like. So go look at that.
That looks fucking sick.
It does look sick, right? And you have a project also to talk about. What are you talking about this morning?
I am talking about Justicar by Nevin Holmes that did Gun and Slinger that we talked about last week. And funny, I was actually just looking at the Kickstarter and I did not realize Nevin Holmes is from Fort Worth, which is, I'm from Dallas, so it's the DFW. So they are actually probably like a 30-minute drive away from me.
Very close to you. There you go. Go say hi.
Yeah, very cool.
Hey, Nevin. I will. Yeah, I'm not close to Texas. So, yeah,
I am. I'm in Dallas. So yeah. So Justicar is it's a courtroom drama role-playing game, which you don't see a lot. Very much they reference Phoenix Wright and then My Cousin Vinny. Which, if you haven't seen My Cousin Vinny, fuck you. Go watch My Cousin Vinny. That's a fucking fantastic.
Fuck me, because I've never seen My Cousin Vinny.
I would have said fuck you to you anyway. So yeah, this is very much like Gun and Slinger in the way that it's a collaborative storytelling project. Even more so than Gun and Slinger, there's not really a game master. You have the judge, the stand, the prosecutor, and the defense, and you kind of like it's a very like relationship social game as you try to like figure out the truth of a given situation. Games will take 2 to 3 hours. So if you're looking to have like a one shot with your like close friends, it's a really, it really seems good for that, for not long form. But yeah, it's for the, I'm sleepy today, bro. For the PDF copy it is $15. Print and PDF is $25. Right now it is sitting at $4,228 out of $9,000. And it has 24 days to go, so it really is just starting. It looks really cool. I'm very interested in how this turns out. I like these like very no longer asymmetric games where like there's not one person who I mean, we've all kind of gotten away from like the game master being this like god figure to being more of another player, but this really is like, no, there's just 4 players. And you all play off each other. So
yeah, I really like that. I think we especially have kind of started getting away. I mean, so, you know, So the weekly bag on the world's most overrated role-playing game is one of the things that I really started to dislike about it is that the DM, it feels a lot of the times, especially in the modules, as if they're telling a story and the players are just kind of along for the ride, because there's an ending already planned out. So realistically, as far as like the scope of your entire adventure, your actions are relatively meaningless. It's an illusion of choice. So I definitely like to, life. Just like in exactly. But you know, like there's a very popular online stream that has this awesome story and adventure, but it feels like the story is already written and everyone's just, again, along for the ride and acting their way through kind of already designated scenarios, and your choices are really kind of inconsequential in the long run. So when you can have games like this, where it's more collaborative storytelling as opposed to one person telling the story and everyone just kind of reacting to that, love that. And I really like this concept where it's more like, it's like 2 game masters, 2 players is what it says, but there's no single traditional game master. Yeah. Or a game
the judge and the stand are a certain position, and the prosecutor and defense are like playing off or against them, it seems like.
Which is really, really cool. It's kind of like, and also with what we talked about last week with Gun and Slinger, I like when referees are referees, and that's it, where they're contributing to the narration that the players are doing, but they're not creating the story. The players' actions create the story. So super cool. I really like this, and Nevin does a lot of really cool stuff with that. And Will Yobst, editor on the project. A lot of other great names in here too. Will Yobst does Good Luck Press. I recently got their game Torque along with a bunch of other stuff. Eventually we'll talk about that. I don't have a PDF for that yet, but we'd love to talk about that as well. And that's Justicar, right?
Yeah, that's Justicar. Yeah. Check it out. 24 days left. If you're listening to this, it's probably still going. Yeah.
If I actually put the podcast out when I should from now on, instead of 7 days late. But yeah.
Whatever. We have jobs, we have lives, we do this for fun. There's
pushing back to Sunday is kind of disrupting the whole schedule.
Who are I apologize. So
yeah, we'll be back to Saturdays eventually. Greatly. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. We'll get there.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I had one last thing I wanted to talk about today, and it is not a Kickstart the Podcast thing. I know, right? It's crazy, but I don't have a separate non-Kickstart the Podcast window.
Oh, this is our sponsor for this episode. We're sponsored. This is the episode we're sponsored by. Is this what we're talking about?
I can just get rid of that. Yeah, except we're not actually sponsored. That is a joke. Yeah. But hey, sponsors. I'm actually going to talk about the Storytelling Collective. It's storytellingcollective.com. It is a really cool website that offers a lot of really great content. It is an online learning program designed for creatives, for storytelling, for tabletop role-playing games, and for other writing as well. Obviously, we're leaning into the tabletop role-playing game part of this. But one of the reasons I'm talking about this is because my personal favorite content creator, Source of Victory, is one of the I don't want to say main writers. One of the is got courses all over Storytelling Collective in the RPG Writer Workshop. They recently put out one called Dungeon Design Essentials Moments. It's an extension of their Dungeon Design Essentials course, and I actually got to read that prior to them putting it out, and it's just a really, really amazing course. It's a smaller course. It's only got I think it's listed as 4 lessons, but I think the 4th one is final word. But it is a way to design engaging dungeon adventures backed by game design theory, which is really, really cool. It explains and kind of goes into how play experiences are considered second order design problems and how to create moment driven dungeon design so that as you go through an adventure and as you go through situations, you can create memorable moments at the table that your players are going to remember, which is what memorable means. So we're a little redundant there. But it's a really, really, really cool course. It's got a lot of great references for people to check out, like books to read, videos to go watch, things like that as well. So it's just an incredibly well done course. So if you write adventures, especially dungeon crawls, this is realistically, in my opinion, mandatory. Realistically, it's so good and so well done.
I'm actually adding to my bookmarks right now, so I can go back over it later.
Another one that Source has done also is Dungeon Design Essentials Treasure, which is a great course that really teaches you how to create rewards and treasure. That's more than just like, good job, here's some gold. It's a really, really, really great course. And what I do also like about the Storytelling Collective, which is something we just talked about too, is people got lives and shit like comes up.
Very true.
All of these courses are self-paced, so you just get the course materials, and a lot of them have homework and stuff like that to do as well, and you can take them at your own pace. So check that out, storytellingcollective.com. There's also a Level Up, which is a TTRPG design bundle, which gives you the 2 courses from Source of Victory. Sursa is also the editor-in-chief of Trident Gamebooks, and a gamebook is like a pick your path. Technically, choose your own adventure is copywritten, that phrase. But
that's right. Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. But Trident Gamebooks does the solo game books, which are amazing. So if you get the TTRPG bundle, you get a Choice Design and Solo Adventures gamebook course, you get the Dungeon Design Essentials Treasure course, and you get 2 additional courses which are awesome for TTRPG creators. It's Publishing Your Campaign Setting and Marketing 101 for Tabletop RPG Creators. So it's not just about writing adventures, it's about actually like potentially monetizing and getting people's eyes on it. So though that is an awesome bundle to get, and there's a number of other courses as well. And Source of Victory, for those that know us, is a friend of the show, friend to us. We love
Sursa.
Yeah, Sursa's the man. And he has actually offered, for anyone listening, if you use code all caps Victory30, VICTORY30, you can actually get 30% off of all of his courses, or any of his courses. So again, Victory30 gets you 30% off of all of Source of Victory's courses on here.
Ignore that.
Yeah. And again, for any of you who don't know Source of Victory, shame on you. But they are amazing. Any nominated adventure writer. They wrote my favorite adventure, Necropolis of the Mailed Fist. They also did Tomb of Mercy, both of which are published by Kobold Press. They are 5th edition in a way that's actually fun and interesting.
I do really still kind of prefer Kobold Press if we're going to play anything that's like a 5th.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. So go check out all of that stuff. Go check out Trident Gamebooks, and go check out Storytelling Collective. Again, Victory30. We're not sponsored. Again, this is not. We just fucking really like Sursa. We just love Sursa, and the Storytelling Collective is a great website with a lot of really great content.
Sponsored in friendship, bro. You know.
Yeah, sponsored in friendship is exactly what it is. So go check out Storytelling Collective. If you're a TTRPG writer, a lot of this stuff is just it's actively geared towards you. So go check that out, and they always have a lot of new people coming in, a lot of new courses. So. That's that, bro. So
how would you 30 minutes on a dot? That's not bad, you know. That's pretty good for us.
8:35, you know, and we even did stuff that wasn't Kickstart the Podcast. We are getting through it. So we are actually going to hop over into Death in Space. Are you ready for this?
God, that's such a good cover. Yeah, let's open it up so we can talk about how good the cover is. The cover's good, so.
Cover's so good. Cover is so good. So I can actually, again, for those of you who are in podcast land and you can't see what's going on, I am going to scroll back up. Hold up this cover. It's freaking beautiful. It's holographic on the front. It's a decent sized book. And what's cool too, I mean, there again, almost the entire front cover is foiling. The back cover is foiling, and this is the regular version. This isn't even the special edition version. Like, this looks like a special edition. Like that's it's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. And that's just plain one that we didn't plan to do this episode the week that the pre-orders came out. Really, I mean, it's cool that it worked out that way. One of the reasons we're actually One of the reasons we're actually talking about this is on the Adventure Archive, on our actual play side of our channel. Jason runs games on Thursdays. He runs all of our Merclord games. he has been prepping, and starting on this coming Thursday, we're going to be doing a 0 session to start a Death in Space campaign. So that is one of the reasons we were talking about it, and it's cool that it also is a week of the pre-order. So anyway, this book is gorgeous. You know what? I'm actually going to go to the...
You know what? You're gorgeous too, bro.
Oh, well, thanks. Also, you're right. Here's the special edition version, which is a black cloth bound book that's absolutely beautiful. It's just got the kind of floating astronaut on it, the cross logo on the side, which is beautiful, triangle on the back. And then to continue going over all the stuff you got from the Kickstarter that I don't know if you can get now, you get pads of both hub data sheet, entire pad, like fat pad of data sheets.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, the personal data sheet, which is your character sheet, again, enormous pad of those. I backed it 99% void safe, so I got this special letter that one of the locations in the Tenebris system I got to name. And then you also get, I got doubles of everything because I got the void safe one. There's 2 extra pamphlets of adventures. One is called Katali 9, and one is called Search and Salvage, which is cool, the pamphlet adventures. And you also get NPC cards for the starter adventure that's in the game that are really beautifully done with some great art.
What is this, the Mothership box set? Holy shit, they sent you a lot of stuff.
It's the Death in Space box set, yeah. There's also a couple of cards for locations in the starting adventure, which are cool.
I like the style of those. They're very, for those of you who are listening, the style of everything is very much like this black backdrop with like yellow as almost the only color. It's really very cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Super well done. And then I have such a fat stack of stickers in here that I have to find all of them. But it came with some really, really gorgeous stickers as well. And I'm not going to take the time to dig those out. But there was a bunch of those. One of them is the one that comes on the you also get this is a plastic bag for those that can't see, but it is a static shielding bag for when you go in space. So you're void safe. Yeah. And the entire package came wrapped in a foil. So it was in like a foil bag to protect it from space as well, that you had to like open up. But one of the stickers you get is the Death in Space 99% void safe sticker, if you get the void safe one. And some other really beautiful stickers too. I have a previous Instagram post that had the pictures of all of this stuff. So anyway, that is what you get for Instagram. Oh fuck! And there's more, dude. Because there's also maps that come with it too. There's a map of the Tenebris system, which is super cool. So we'll go over that. And then there is an additional map.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh no, I get 2 maps because again I got the map of the entire Tenebris system. Yeah.
You have 2 maps of the Tenebris system?
I do. I have 2 maps. What are we saying here? I got two of a lot of stuff, bro. Yeah. Sounds like someone's box is getting a little bit more full.
Bro, the mythical box, man. Ryan, of the 2 of us, Ryan is the one who actually has an issue with buying tabletop games. Like, obviously, I have an unhealthy habit, but Ryan is way on the other end. I'm also a lot more broke than Ryan. So Ryan just been hooking it up, you know? So, it's like a lot of my physical rewards are going to come at the end of the summer because I really hopped on this Kickstarter train this past fall. And so I missed Death in Space completely. And Orbital Blues, which I was also really bummed about. But I pre-ordered, I just bought Orbital Blues, so I get the physical copy this week. And, I pre-ordered Death in Space. So these fucking cool games. Why don't I keep making these cool fucking games? I gotta pay bills.
I know, right? But yeah, if I get doubles, I am putting together this box that I'm going to send to Hunter that's got just a bunch of like stuff like this where I happen to get 2 of things. So give it to the homies, So Death in Space, though. That is all the physical stuff we got. Let's actually talk about the fucking game.
Dude, the game's cool. It's very cool. It's very cool. Right? There's not and I don't mean it's a negative way. There's not a lot to it, there's just enough to make it good and understandable. And there's it's super not bogged down at all. And I love that.
No. I think the entire game feels super, super streamlined. It gives you it gives you enough to, I think there's an active effort in it to give you tools, not tons of specifics, right? You get a setting.
Yes, totally.
You get a lot of locations, and you get a lot of tools to use those locations in a fun, effective way. But as far as even like the adventures, I didn't read the adventure in the book because Jason might be using part of that for our campaign, so I completely just kept my eyes off of that. But even the pamphlet adventures, it's more of like, here's a scenario and a location, but it's not like a WotC module where it's like, here is the beginning, middle, and end, and it must go in A, B, C, D to get you there. But like you said, not in a bad way. They definitely give you probably more than enough stuff to make it your own and run whatever kind of adventure you run. Because when I first saw this on Kickstarter, I thought it leaned a little bit heavier into space horror, more like Mothership. And it can.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, absolutely. It's there, but it doesn't have to. Like, you can play an entry game and they reference it, you know?
Yeah, there's many ways to play it. And again, that's not, there's no negative involved in saying that it's super streamlined and isn't super dense. It's, you definitely get more than enough. And like I said, you get enough to make it your own. Yeah.
Yeah. And while I say like, there's not like a lot in it, at the same time, it's like, but you do have a lot of options that you can use. It's not super bogged down with rules, which, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, it gives you tools. It doesn't give you like a walkthrough on how to do it, which is amazing.
We like this game. We're liking this game.
It's great. Death in Space. It is put out. It is Carl Niblaeus. I think I hope I said that kind of correctly. And Christian Plogfors. Carl Niblaeus and Carl and Christian wrote the game, and I believe it's Christian who did the design and layout. Let me get to the page that says that, so I'm not talking on my ass. Yeah, creators are Christian and Carl.
Let's just real quick. You know, like
layout and graphics is Christian. Yeah, Pele Nielsen did some additional writing on it. Obviously, Merc Borg. Yep. Johan Noor is in here with some illustrations. And this is a Free League Workshop game. And for those that don't know Free League Workshop, it's kind of like a sub studio in the Free League Publishing, underneath Free League Publishing. Basically, it's kind of like where, and maybe I'm getting this completely wrong, it's the same thing Mercborg's published under. It's basically, it's their own thing. Mercborg's its own thing, but it is published by Free League using this Free League Workshop kind of subset. And Carl Niblaeus, I'm not sure if Christian is, but I know that Carl was part of Stockholm Cartel, which is what Johan Noor was also part of, and Mercborg came from and everything. Also has some other really cool adventures that I should have grabbed off my shelf. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Rookie mistake.
I know, but I bought basically everything that Stockholm Cartel could put out. And Carl has some other stuff that he put out as well. You can go check out all the Stockholm Cartel stuff. But between Death in Space and Mercborg and all these Stockholm Cartel people, let me tell you what, they kind of bought a battering ram to ttrpg a little bit. They're fucking it up over here.
I'm glad like this and like Mercborg and like that, this mentality of like, you know, there's 4 stats, it's very, very simple to understand. Like, it's better, you know, it's good. It works really well. It's good.
It is really, really well done. I like it a lot. Carl put out a game also called Through the Gate, which is a really cool space adventure, kind of quasi space horror game. You gotta snag that. I think it's on Exalted now, but you can also get it directly from the Stockholm Cartel website. But did I get it from Exalted? Or I think it actually links to a Lulu page for that one. Anyway, great stuff. Stockholm Cartel kicking ass. Free League is easily our favorite and best publisher out there. They've been, winning Annies for years, putting, awesome stuff out. And Free League Workshop is great to allow creators to create some stuff and put it out themselves. Anyway, we jerked the game off a little bit here in the beginning, but let's start talking about it. The cover is gorgeous.
Why would you say it like that? Yeah, the cover is beautiful.
I'll minimize for those that can't see it. So the cover is this kind of, it looks like it's this black kind of void circle, and it's got these waves coming off of it, and then floating down is this red astronaut on this oxygen tube or something, like floating into this potential void, black hole, whatever it is. Yeah. It's so fucking cool. It's so well done.
I just love the minimal use of color. Like I always love that. I always love when it's like if you look at our color scheme where it's just like it's mostly black and there's like pink that makes it pop, you know, like this is like there's black and there's white and there's just a little bit of red that just really stands out, and I really enjoy it. So
and throughout the book they did that too. The entire thing is black and then each section is separated into some blue, some red, some of this like kind of chartreuse color. So yeah,
it's definitely a good looking book. Printing this book must have been a nightmare though, because it's so dark.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of books did that. I mean, Merkborg is pretty dark. Like Nova from Spencer Campbell was all black. Yeah.
It's all black.
So fit to whisk scrolling. So right off the bat, you get some equipment tables, which are pretty dope. Random stuff like EVA suits, planetary cooking kits, electronics, like animal replica with simple AI, portable life systems.
Exactly what we like to see at the beginning and the end of a game is roll tables. Like if you can open up the book to a certain side and our roll tables in it, it's like, oh, fantastic. Or not roll tables. This isn't technically roll tables, but just tables that have options that you can like really quickly reference, you know?
Well, because it's the in papers too, which is great. It's a non-waste of space for those in papers before you actually get to the like the credits page on the back of the first page. So you get the front back in papers, which are fucking beautiful. And again, to continue with how the regular fucking book looks like a special edition fucking book. Yeah. 2 ribbons, bro. 2 ribbons in it. A black and a red ribbon. Like realistically, again, the fact that this book is the non-special edition book is fucking crazy to me for how gorgeous it is. I mean, again, foil front and back and ribbons inside is usually Kickstarter exclusive, you know, shit. Regular book. This is what you get when you pre-order, folks. Holographic covers, foiling, ribbons.
It looks pretty good. I don't know if y'all have seen. I don't know if y'all have caught that we like the way this game looks or the book looks, but we do like the way the book looks.
The best thing too is that it's gorgeous and a good game.
It's a good game.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so roll tables in the front. Food. My favorite is almost bread. I like that.
Well, not roll tables, but tables. You know.
Yeah.
Reference tables.
Yeah, tables. Yeah. Clothing, repairs and spare parts, fuel cost, distance, usables and knights. That's front, and then you get to the credits page, which you just talked about. Again, Christian Plogfors, Carl Niblaeus are the creators. Layout and graphics by Christian. So a lot of this stuff is Christian, and dude, good fucking job.
Yeah, really great job. It looks fucking great.
Yeah, really, really good. So heading straight in, more just awesome graphic and graphic design here. The rivers, lakes, and ocean all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. George Gordon Byron. And there's this beautiful, like, graphic, the space graphic that's got like maybe a hint of almost occultism too, which is really fucking dope. And then there's this cross logo. It's kind of like a cross. I mean, it's a cross, but it's not like, you know, T Jesus cross. It's like just the, you know.
Yeah, it's cross-esque, you know.
Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. It's all over the whole thing. It's such a simple, clean thing, but it's evocative. It invokes something in you that goes and then probably a little dark. Then we get to 2 different pages that I really, really love. The first one is a list of all of the tables in the game, which is super cool. I love that they did that.
Fucking, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so dope. And it's hyperlinked.
I did notice that.
It's hyperlinked. Yeah, so good fucking job with hyperlinks. Do we have bookmarks in here? We are bookmarked, folks. Good job.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hyperlinks and bookmarks. I have one little thing that I'll talk about later that is just the tiniest little like knockoff for some of this, but yeah. And then you get to the table of contents, which is both color coded and bookmarked, which is fantastic. You got the introduction, character creation, hub creation, playing the game, the extras, and tables and tools in the back, all separated that way. So we're going to get directly into the introduction after another beautiful piece of art here of a floating astronaut by a planet or a sun. More of the cross logo that just
very solitary feeling, you know, like very isolated feeling. Yeah, like space. It's absolutely.
Cool. So we're not going to read every aspect of the beginning here. But basically the intro is the story of the setting and kind of where and when you are. And to start, you are in a collapsing universe. It's a vast blackness of space that is collapsing in a slow grind towards eternal nothingness. And heralding the collapse is the Void, a strange presence that infects and corrupts. There are these people called navies who go out into space to set up these buoys so people can do what amounts to like hyper jumps. It's called from bridger ships. It's called bridging in this game. And they claim that the farther you go, that they have seen some strange creatures out there. Behemoths drifting from the edge of the cosmos, seeking shelter in the civilized system. Scientists reject that, calling them tales of nightmares, but do say that the universe has stopped expanding and is now compressing, which is interesting. In the setting, primarily, which is a Tenebrae system, a century ago, explorers found a new form of gemstone in the desolate Tenebrae system. It's kind of a very like Dune way, with the what's it called? The spice, with the spice.
Melange spice.
Yeah, because the stones that grow like cysts on roots that extend deep into the soil of the barren moons and planets are used because of their extraordinary refracting qualities in construction of advanced technology, including the Bridger spaceships that actually rip through the fabric of space-time. So you actually have to use these gemstones to create these Bridger ships. They had far-reaching potential, but the founding of that gem rush created, or the founding of the gems created the gem rush, which is people shooting to the Tenebrae system, trying to get as many gems as they can, harvest that because they'd be so important, which led to a full-scale gem war that lasted quite a while. And ended 10 years ago. Large corporations battled around the Yellow Moon in Naro, which was the center of the Gem Rush and is the center planet within the game. Moon, outside of a gas giant planet. And the war ended with one corporation declaring itself the victor, but in the end, everybody lost. The gems were basically all mined away, destroyed, whatever, and got to the point where there is no longer the production of this advanced technology. So there's no more production of spacecraft, advanced weapons, or other technology at all. So everything at this point, because it relied on the gems and the supply of gems relied on an intricate trade network, when you don't have gems anymore, and you can't really do a lot of bridging, and there's no more bridger ships being done, everything got isolated. So everything kind of got very quickly populated, because they were able to, people with the bridger ships were able to like jump long distances and populate these far-flung systems, and then we're not really able to do that anymore. So all of these far-flung systems became isolated. The Tenebrae system itself is still a decade out of this war. And kind of coping with that, while at the same time, all technology, all of this advanced technology needs to be recycled and repurposed and recycled, and it's whittled down until there's just like the dregs left of that. So there was this advanced technology that now you're barely able to find. And that's what you're left with, is this Tenebrae system, which is this kind of like war-torn. It's only 10 years ago, so most people
it's like
still,
a multi-level dystopia, it's like post-war, universe is ending, void is spreading, corporate overlord. It's very cool. Right.
While also all of your shit is broken down, recycled trash at this point, barely functioning, on top of it. So every aspect of your life pretty much fucking sucks, is what it comes down to. It
Just
ain't
like
a good
real
time.
Life.
It ain't a good time. So talking about some of the parts of the kind of the, not the principles, but the aspects of the game. The decay of central rule. When the war ended, entire star systems became isolated. Like I said, trade activity dwindled, and the loss of these like kind of corporate overlords that were controlling these trade routes. It created these vacuums of power that people within those systems, former vassals, it says, seized onto, and took over these small systems with their kind of fake power that they had, and do everything they can to hold on to it. The Tenebrae system was fractured into a multitude of small domains, and much of the system has been abandoned. So you see old stations orbiting vacated asteroid mines, with some far-flung outposts. You You also have a static that permeates all electronics. It is always there these days. It's vague but undeniable, like a radio between channels. And it seems to intensify as you approach the edge of known space, and you can occasionally make out words and strange whispers that make no sense. The void. And now your reputation is the new law. Hollows are the money that you use, but the real currency is contracts. It's what you can do for other people, and it's what people can do for you, whether it's salvaging or fighting or whatever it is. Contracts are important and that makes your reputation important, because you have to have a good reputation in order to get contracts. And everything's so broken down and technology so rare, shit's expensive. Keeping your spaceship running is expensive. Kind of gives you that almost like a little bit of Cowboy Bebop, but I wouldn't really reference it in the scope of this game, except that everything
but I see
is
what
just
part of it you're kind of talking about, you know? Yeah. Everything's just broken down and like. Yeah,
every time they're trying to make a big score, because all of like the regular contract jobs basically just keep their shit moving. And that's what this feels like. You just have to keep your shit moving forward to even be able to survive. So you take contracts for various different things, and it gets you hollows in order to, as I said, keep you eating and keep your shit moving forward. And then there is a great shot of Inaro. It's orbital debris engineering model and lidar.
LiDAR.
What is a lidar?
It's a laser detection. What does it stand for? Actually, I've seen it before, but I've seen people use it to map stuff with lasers.
Gotcha. So really, really, really beautiful graphic of what Inara looks like. It is a moon. It is a main kind of hub of humanity in the Tenebrae system, outside of a gas giant. We'll get to the location stuff later.
Light detection and ranging, or light image, or sorry, there's two. I'm on Wikipedia. Laser imaging detection and ranging.
There you go. So that is Inara. Continuing with the introduction, this is moving away from the lore. So that's basically the lore of the entire thing, which honestly, it's not a lot, but it's way more than enough. It's
so enough. I totally know. I know exactly what my first couple of adventures I would run with my group would be in this, because I've been doing a bunch of ghost towns, ghost stations, fucking weird, creepy void shit. Oh yeah, this is amazing.
One thing I like about this game too is I love Mothership, and there's no knock that I'm going to say about Mothership, but it is definitely a sci-fi horror game.
Yes.
Yeah. This game feels like, especially with the rules as we get to them, and character creation, you can lean in any direction you want. If you want to lean towards a quasi-orbital blues style game, you absolutely could, kind of space western with like abandoned ghost towns and kind of stuff like that. Since everything's so isolated, you can lean towards Mothership for like a sci-fi horror game. You can be on a not a spaceship, but a space hub or one of these planets and lead into political intrigue and stuff because of as soon as you have a demand, you have a supply, which creates somebody who's going to make money, which can give you contracts and stuff. So there's a lot of ways you can go with this, and every campaign could feel super, super different, which is really cool.
Yeah. Every game runner, game master, or referee, whatever they call it in this one, could play this in a very like their own style. Exactly. There's a lot of wiggle room in this. I really like that.
Yeah, a lot of wiggle room. Yeah. So I'll read this part. Civilization is at its end. Slowly but steadily, the universe contracts towards an inescapable end. The void between the stars whispers strange and portentous phrases to the unlucky. This is a game about the hard-working explorers and laborers in this universe, and the jobs they take to survive in a war-torn stellar system where anarchy spreads and resources are scarce. Without a good aim and a tech-savvy mind, they will quickly meet their death in space. Dope. So dope.
That's the name of the fucking book.
There you go. Yeah, all caps, baby. So in this book, you will find the rules and tools you need to play the game. First are the rules for creating crew and the player characters in their hub in the form of a spacecraft or space station. Some details are left out for you to define what that may mean for your group and your universe. Love that. Second are the rules for playing the game. Exactly. The book also includes an introduction to the Tenebrae system, the default setting. You can use it as a starting point of your game or create your own place. You can create your own places within or in the universe. And the remaining part of the book is an introductory scenario, tables, and tools. And then talk about starting up a campaign, You begin by creating the crew in their hub, involving everyone around the table, discussing the tone of the setting, what kind of game you want, which is kind of what we just talked about. Do you want to focus on intrigue and power struggles, or expeditions to forgotten places, far out in the stellar system? And you should let the players influence what the hub looks like, its purpose, its name, its characteristics.
Oh yeah, dude, I'd let my players make as many of those. I'll write whatever for them. Like, I'll let them, if they want to do a fucking power and intrigue, oh baby, I would write some shit for this game. Yeah.
Oh, show. Everything starts out super run down and almost non-functional, but the crew can upgrade and customize it during their play. In a typical campaign, the player characters start out in the Iron Ring at the bottom of the food chain. They're a small crew that have just come across an old spacecraft or space station. Will they try to get off the ring, or will they work their way through the power structure? You can get to a starting scenario, Welcome to the Ring, on page 78. Oh, damn. I was going to give a knock because, at least when I was reading it on my iPad...
you have the inline fucking... link. So that's really cool.
When it says welcome to the ring is on page 78 in parentheses, when you click on the 78, boom, it takes you to the 78. Which I thought when I clicked on it, that was the only knock I was going to have on the entire, at least layout, was that when it references another page, it didn't link to it, but I was wrong. Maybe I was just clicking the wrong spot when I was looking at it, because it fucking does. So I have no knocks at all about the layout or as far as functionality of this, which is fucking cool. Getting into the next part is a little breakdown of the Iron Ring, which again is where the introductory scenario is, and where you can start pretty easily in here. The Iron Ring is a massive ring-like structure assembled from thousands of old spacecraft and refinery modules surrounding the moon. An RO like a belt of metal. The ring is divided into irregular sized sectors. A lot of the sectors are uninhabited. In the inhabited sectors, salvagers, miners, and drugged cultists coexist in a never sleeping melting pot filled with sharp smells from food stalls, ear-piercing noise from workshops that constantly disassemble and rebuild things, and the shouting of AI bodyguards offering services in every known language. To get between sectors, you must often walk through worn docking connectors. Most of the technology in the system is recycled from old equipment, so you get a lot of junk sellers. The society itself is harsh, and some do not hesitate to step on others to get ahead. And for those who cannot afford their own living quarters, there are common areas with rows of bed capsules, which placed in the scaffolding that have public showers and public mess halls for you. So, good times.
Tracks. Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the end of the introduction, and I love this cross logo.
Yeah, I do too. It's really cool.
So cool. It's so evocative, and on this page, it fills the entire page, and it has that kind of like space schematic thing laid over it, and it's in blue. And again, one of the things I like about this is each section is color coded. So the section that we just went through at the introduction, everything was white in it. And as we get into the player character section, getting started, all of the highlighted things are in blue, which is, again, great for layout and functionality.
Yeah, we got to remember when we judge layout and functionality, because that, like, the color coding, I don't actually see it a lot, but when I like create stuff for work, I color code it, and I like that a lot. And I like this, you always know kind of where you are.
Exactly. I really like that. Troika actually does that. Again, one reason I love it, their actual pages in the book are different colors.
Oh,
did you ever notice that? Have you
No.
seen? Did you get your Troika copy?
Probably.
Yeah. So they're like a slightly greenish or reddish or bluish. You can see it from the side of the book. So the pages themselves, you know what section you can flip to, because you know that the blue is X section or whatever. So love the color coding. It's another reason that Troika is by far the most functional, best laid out ttrpg I've ever read, even if it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it is highly functional though.
It's insane.
Oh yeah, they are.
It's insane.
And it's very subtle, the color change,
subtle,
though,
right? But it's there. Yeah. So love us some color coding. Again, the layout of this book, Christian,
is fantastic. Yeah,
good fucking
it's
job.
So good.
Good fucking job. Do you, sir, want to take up character creation?
I do. Let's do character creation, y'all. Welcome to the Hunter time. Okay, so character creation. First of all, I love this. I love when character creation just starts with like, hey, here are the 6 steps or whatever. Lancer did that, which made Lancer a lot easier to read because Lancer's a little confusing. But for step-by-step character creation, we've got first, we're going to pick abilities. Second, you pick the origin. Third, you pick character details. 4, past allegiances. 5, hit points of defense. And 6, starting gear and starting bonuses. And that's it. That's a character. So for the abilities, like we said, it is a 4 different ability score game. That's body, which is your physical strength, your might, melee attacks, your resistance, dexterity, which is dexterity. It's reflexes, poison, speed. Savvy, which is your perception, intuition, psychological resistance, and piloting a spacecraft. And then tech, which is understanding and operating technology, and ranged attacks. For generating abilities, you take 2d4. You roll 1, and you roll the second one, and you minus the first one or the second one from the first one. It's super easy. But
yeah, but
your
it's
stats are gonna be fucking
so bad.
Yeah, your stats are gonna fucking suck.
They're gonna suck. But we talked about this before the game started. That the base of this, I'm pretty sure, is Merkborg. It's 4 stats.
It's definitely it's definitely Merkborg adjacent.
Yeah, it's 4 stats, D20 rollover, and DR12 is the base for everything. But there's more to it. But the stat beginning here, you could easily roll negatives, and I love
you're gonna have a
the way that
2 in dexterity and a 1 in savvy and a 0 in tech.
That's not how Merkborg does it, right? Am I completely fucking wrong?
They don't do it that way. That's you roll dice, and based on what you roll, I actually can't even remember. It's a thing. Yeah. They do a thing.
Yeah. I fucking love this.
Yeah, this is a brutal start to your character. They also say alternatively, you can roll 2 different colored d4 and treat one as a positive and one as a negative, which totally is how my brain works. So cool. So that's step 1. We're already done with step 1 of character creation. We're going on step 2, origins. Right here at the bottom of step 1, it gives us kind of the intro to origin. The origin can be anything from a different alien species to someone with opinions of the Mohawk, because there is a punk origin, and that shit's tight as fuck. Start from our description and decide how you want to interpret yours. Like games that are good, they're like, yeah, we gave you the layout, but interpret it however you want. So origins. Ryan, do we want to do all of these, or do we want to pick a couple?
Why don't you pick one and I'll pick one, and maybe we'll pick one together?
Okay.
Depending on which ones you pick, because I know which ones are my favorite. Just which one's your favorite?
God, I don't know. I like pretty much all of them. I will go ahead and I'll pick Velocity Cursed. Because that one's fucking cool. Velocity Cursed. You're an ill-fated one that has started to lose their connection to reality. They shift and flicker in and out of space-time with glitching faces. So each origin gives you 2 benefits. The Velocity Curse's 2 benefits are 1, future memory, because you're stuck out of fucking space-time. You have already been here. Once per session, you can just ask the referee for directions, and they're just going to tell you directions, because your fucking memory is non-linear. And the second one, Pocket World. You start with a portable non-phys server housing a virtual reality where you store memories to connect the past and future of your life. Up to 10 users can connect simultaneously. What the fuck? This character is so wild.
So cool.
I read that and I was like, that's fucking, they're stuck out of time, and they have to upload their memories to a VR world to line shit up. And I love that.
So cool.
Also, as somebody who frankly usually DMs, GMs, whatever, although it's nice with this new group, there's another one, this gives me a ton of shit to work with, And the fact that up to 10 users can connect to it, it's they can all go view oh, hey, you have a future memory of this, saved in your Pocket World. It's a great tool for foreshadowing, and it's also just cool as fuck. So
it's so cool. I really love Void, obviously. I mean,
you like the Void one?
I know, right? It's crazy. I usually don't like dark stuff. I'm
Can we
generally
get
considered
edgelord in the chat.
Yeah, I'm generally considered the happier one of us too. So Void is robed nihility shamans, hidden behind masks, speaking through synthetic voice scramblers. They've seen visions of the edge of the universe. There are 2 benefits. The one, you get to pick one. Voice of the Void. You can make nearby electronics emit static and crackling whispers. Or Masked. You have a mask that you can reshape during rest into the resemblance of another face or mask. At a distance, it fools most. And I think the picture at the bottom of page 12 is probably a Void dude.
You know, it's so funny. Like I was so stoked on reading these. I didn't even read that small part where it says, "Yeah, you can just pick one of your 2 benefits." I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, you only get one, or you can get both. I mean, it's your fucking game. Do whatever you want. But yeah, it does say Void actually by this guy. Oh, just fucking do it. Yeah, there's this dude with his hood down. That's got like a skull on the top. He's holding a skull. Like, definitely. I mean, that's my fucking guy.
I think that there's like this cult aspect of the people are worshiping the Void. You know, it's like that makes sense. Of course, I believe that. Fucking
course they would. If people will worship a fucking orange turd, they're gonna worship the Void.
Donald Trump, save me! Save me! I'm praying to. I saw a video of a guy praying to him earlier, and I was like, "Who the fuck?"
Anyway, do you want to just like say the names of the other ones, and then?
Yeah. So the other ones, and I'll give everyone a short. The other one's Carbon, which is your like short-term lifespan carbon life form, like what we are, except with a couple of like little benefits to how they're made. Chrome is an AI in like a living form that requires air. They make sure to say that. Punk is your rebellious conformist with a potential green thumb, which I thought was a really interesting like benefit. Soulpod is a weird hibernating creature that can sleep for decades and is very science focused. And yeah, I think then there's Velocity Curse and Void. I actually was going to pick Void, and I realized who I was sitting next to or across from. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do Void.
I was going to pick Void. Yeah, you know.
I knew that you fucking were.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they're all really cool, and you can use them all in very inventive ways. And
I also think it'd be super fucking easy to make more. If your whole thing is just basically like what your potentially physical makeup and then a couple of benefits, it'd be so easy to make it.
Yeah, it's super easy to make it. And also, like, you know, a lot of these are fairly general, and you could laterally move them and describe them a little bit differently, and they would work great. So
easily. Yeah.
So we're on to character details. So once again, actually, hey, do you have a dice roller up?
I can.
Let's pull a fucking dice roll up. Let's make a character real quick, you know?
Okay. All right. Well, what do you want the first one?
Well, go ahead and let's roll a d6 for your origin. Let's just do the fucking thing, you know?
All right. Well, if I have to roll,
worry about stats, but we'll do all this.
If I roll, I got the Soul Pod, which is someone who hibernates for decades.
You're a sleepy bitch.
I'm a sleepy bitch. I do love this though, that you get a hibernation pod, and basically like you study the slow cosmic phenomena. So basically you can sleep for a long time, wake up, and then look how the cosmos have changed since you were asleep like 100 years ago or some shit. That's cool. So yeah, I'm sleepy boy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll go back down to character details, and we got background now, which is a D20. Okay. There's background, traits, drive, and looks. And we're going to roll for each.
I got a 17, so I'm a tow trucker.
Tow trucker, yeah.
Doesn't quite fit with the Soul Pod.
In your free time, hey, listen, you sleep between toes.
I wake up and I just start trucking.
You woke up like 5 years ago, and you've been looking for a way to make money because your scientific organization fell through in the past 100 years. So you're now a tow trucker. You know.
I rolled a second time just to see if something fit a little bit better, and it was Orbit Vagabond, which makes a little bit more sense for my Soul Pod.
That makes more sense. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Now we're going down to traits, which is another D20 roll. Yeah.
There's a dope picture here of the Carbon guy. Yeah, I do like that the art is kind of reminds me of Viking Death Squad a little bit, and that it's black and white with like one pop of color on it. Mm-hmm.
Very much like that. It's cute.
All right.
So traits.
I got an 8, so I'm relentless in my study of the cosmos.
You're a relentless sleepy boy, bro. This is just like real life.
I know, right? Number 20 is what I would pick, though, if I was choosing, not rolling. For my soul pod, it's too old for this shit.
Too old for this shit. And then what's your drive?
My drive is an 18. It is anonymity. So I write anonymously when I publish my scientific work on the cosmos.
You're a hibernating orbital vagabond that relentlessly studies and does not want to be known by people. That's pretty cool.
There you go. I love number 10, though, is a roll table within a roll table. You get secrets about something. Yeah. And it's space frenzy in your background, your parents, a murder. It's pretty dope. The roll tables are really cool. And I like that it's like
really cool.
As always, it's like pick one or roll, which is nice that it gives you that kind of permission, which is cool.
Yeah. I really like having my player characters roll for it. Like in Merkborg, they rolled everything, and in this I have them roll everything. I let them re-roll if that shit's like awkward or like they just hate the shit out of it for some reason. But that very rarely happens. They're usually like, no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm like, okay. It does
very rarely. Well, like you just said, like I definitely like rolling up. Like if I want to make a specific character, I will just be like, hey, I actually made one and I really want to do this one. But for stuff like this, rolling it up would be super dope. But just like the first time I rolled it, I didn't think Tow Trucker really fit a soul pod, but the second one totally did. So that totally works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that the games have structures, but I don't like them so much that I'm just like, no, you fucking roll, bro. That's your roll. Take it. You know?
Yeah. No. Well, because
And now we have a sick piece of art, bro. We have a sick piece of art coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so dope.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I'll shrink this down so the people in that are viewing can actually see the whole piece at once. It's like, I love the schematic style art throughout the entire thing, but it fills the entire page as this like ring with this. I don't even know what to describe this as, and I don't think it's listed. It's just
it looks like some kind of like satellite matrix on the bottom of a space station or ship or something, you know?
It's so like, but there's like antennas maybe, like it's just again it's all black and white, like just fills the entire page. It's an actual it's a gorgeous piece of art, and again, love the black and white kind of 99% of the book with those pops of color. It's stunning.
It's like we really pursue art in these things, and like and Merkborg's always like our go-to example for like and soon the cyborg. But like this art style, like you don't need like a ton of color and stuff to make it like a great piece of art or an art book. This is great, Well,
I think we talked about when we talk about art and style. What's great about the style in this is that it fits the game. It's fucking space. You know what I mean?
It's so space, and it's space, and it's dark, and the world's ending, and like, absolutely.
Well, and again, I love that. Again, each section is color coded. So even as we look on this page here, the next page, you have a row of those cross logos still in that blue color. That is the whole character creation section, and the headers of each table are in that blue color. So any pop of color in this entire chapter is just blue, which is so cool. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay, we're character details continued. We have look. I think this is our last roll table for character details.
My looks is too clean civilian clothes. Too clean because I haven't worn them for fucking 50 years. I've been the sleepy boy. Yeah. There's some fun ones on here, though. Number 7, obviously, is the punk. Botany patches on arms and back saying, I love plants.
So, I like 20, which is a suit, which is holographic patterns. It's very futuristic, Like, my suit just changes color and shit. Very cool.
So, I think there is a wide plethora that, or a wide spread between some of the origins. And that some of these, if you did just roll it up, don't make sense when some others do. Like the botany one, like definitely was written with the punk in mind.
Yeah, it definitely was.
I think the robotic hands and arms could be anybody, but like the necklace with odd animal skulls definitely is kind of feeding the void a bit,
Yeah. Yeah. So we're moving to step 4, past allegiance, and I want to roll. Oh, look, there's a cat that I want on the desk. Say hi, everyone in vodcast land, to this cat because it's leaving. Bye. Okay. I kind of want to roll ones. I'm gonna roll one. What are we doing? A D6 for past allegiances. I got a 1.
I also rolled a 1. So.
Did you really? Yeah. You held some value, faith, science, or something else higher than war and strife. You made compromises, but kept away from fighting. Your allegiance was to an ideal. Like you're Batman.
Yeah. But like, older, not the angsty new Batman. I want to see that movie, but regardless.
Hey, I loved emo Bruce Wayne. I really enjoyed that movie.
I like that they do year 1. I mean, of course you'd be emo. Your parents are fucking dead.
It's year 2, actually.
Whatever. Still be sad at year 2.
Yeah, exactly. And it totally makes sense that he is. And I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie. So
anyway.
Next we have hit points and defense. So you start with 1d8 max hit points, and every time you rest, you're going to recover 1d8 plus your body stat. Your defense rating is the measure of how well you avoid damage, and it is 12 modified by your dex, so it can be modified down or up, and is also affected by armor. But realize that if you have a -3 in your dex, you suck, bro.
Yeah, your unarmored defense is like a 9. You better strap on some armor at that point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, strap on. And then we have 3 pages of art. The first one is this like graphically rendered face. It's like kind of dissolving into like squares and like the little cross symbols that we've seen over and over and over again. It's really, really cool.
It's the velocity curse.
There, it says right there.
They totally take pictures. There's pictures of almost all of the origins throughout this chapter, which is dope.
That's so crazy. That's so cool. I really am interested in how to play a velocity curse. Like, what if your character just disappears for like an episode? I mean, you could bring in a different character. So
you could also, if you can't make it to an episode, just say you glitched out for an episode. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. And if you're gonna play, I don't know if we're gonna get pre-gens or if we're gonna create characters during zero session. I assume we're gonna create characters. Obviously, I want to do Void, but if not, I want to do Velocity Cursed. And I definitely, there has to be a Snapchat filter of like a glitch that you could just have like a glitch face the whole time.
I'll fucking find one, bro. And then we have a lineup of fucking mercenary. It looks like everyone else, actually. It looks like we've got some carbon life forms. We've got one of the chromes, the AIs, and then the hooded figure on 20 and 21 collectively. I'm actually not looking at the spreads version today, so I'm looking at the same version as y'all. Ryan, are you talking?
I had muted myself to scroll, and I unmuted, but the button didn't click. My only knock on the Blue Yeti, the mute button needs to be bigger. I have learned to navigate Adobe Acrobat a little bit better, and I can go between pages and spreads really easily. So I think these are all pictures of the ones that we didn't see already. Some of them are redundant too, but dope. Yeah. And the art makes everyone look like a fucking badass.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone looks fucking real cool in this shit. So, yeah. So, step 6, starting gear and starting bonus. I'm going to be honest. I actually did not read this part. Savings. So like we said earlier, hollows, which is a cool name for currency, are the most current, is the currency, right? You're going to start with 3d10 spare hollows. Item slots, you're going to have 12 plus your body item slots, so you could have less. These are the number of items that you can carry without any negative modification. Normal items take up 1 slot. Small items do not require any slots, whereas heavy or unwieldy require 2 or more. Starting gear, roll or choose one of the starting kits and a professional trinket. And then you have a starting bonus. If the sum of your ability scores is a negative, roll 1d6 for starting bonus. Fucking hilarious, because you can definitely have a negative for your sum of your score. Let's see.
I rolled a 6 and a 3, so I got the Explorer pack, which makes sense for my homie. The slow pod, emergency food rations, a light Eva suit, 5 military grade light sticks, and a tent for extreme weather. and a 3 on my second one. So my starting bonus, if I had rolled low on my ability stats, is a heavy Ava suit. So I would just probably sub that out instead.
Very cool.
I'm actually going to roll 2d4 a couple of times and see what my total would be here.
I'm gonna read off the starting bonuses because they actually give you quite a bit. Like, one is a random cosmic mutation, which we'll go to in just a second. But the cosmic mutations are fucking potentially super sick. An AI guard animal with D4 bite, 1d4 health and a 1d6 bite, DR 13 to hit. An old crew member, 0 in all abilities, but DR 12, 1d6 health. But someone to carry your shit and help out a little bit. And the 0 in all abilities is actually not bad,
Yeah.
Did you roll for a trinket?
I didn't yet. I rolled 4 stats. And I rolled 2 2s, which gives me a 0. I rolled 2 4s, which gave me a 0. I rolled 2 1s, which gave me a 0. And then I rolled a 1 and a 2, which gave me a -1. So the cumulative total is -1 for all of my stats.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled for a personal trinket.
I actually get that heavy Ava suit.
Yeah, you do get the heavy Ava suit. Yeah. I rolled for a personal trinket. I got 18. I have a holographic image of someone you lost.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. You want to roll on this one too, just because there's so many options we can look at?
Yeah, there's so many cool ones on this too.
Yeah, or just pick one. Yeah.
I'll roll and then I'll see what it is.
Cartridge with an AI from a dead pet. What the fuck?
I love that. That one's dope. I got a laser disc with your favorite music.
Hell yeah!
For anyone that remembers laser discs, when they were around for one day. Yeah. A bag of metal pieces called coins is pretty cool. Yeah. All of the tables in here are really well done.
Yeah, and that was it. We just made a character. Like, it was super simple. Yeah. And that's the end of Getting Started 1. And we're now getting into Getting Started 2. I love the last line of this whole section is so nice. This was the last step. Have a nice death in space. Hell yeah.
So good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But I think before we get into Getting Started 2, we are going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Hello, and welcome back to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. We're talking about death in space. So, where are we at, Hunter?
Dying in space. We are at Getting Started 2, and we have the color change now. We've gotten to pink with these fucking sick crosses that we love.
And we're not big fans of pink here, if you guys don't notice.
Oh, yeah,
our whole color.
It is funny that, like, I fucking love, especially, like, these shades of pink are the one we have around us, like, it's very bright pink on black. Oh, I fucking love it.
Yeah, that's actually magenta. Is that actually the color that we actually have? Yeah,
I don't give a fuck, bro. It's pink.
It's pink. I'm just saying. CYMK, like the cyan, yellow, magenta, like the pink. That's the regular like print color. Yeah, that's what this is. It's a good fucking color. Fuck you.
Okay, so Getting Started 2. This is gonna focus on hub creation, which is like a really cool thing, and the approach is really cool. Like in a lot of games that we've gone over, because we've done a lot of space games, because I really like space and future games. And a few of them have given us like a spaceship building option, but this approach as a hub creation is like really interesting, because it even dictates like what kind of hub you can make for what kind of game you really want to play. And we kind of touched on it earlier, right? So for hub creation, the hub is your home, your sanctuary in a tough universe. The crew starts with a station or spaceship, and I really like that. Like, you just give them one. It's gonna be a broken down piece of shit, but they got it. So, our two different options, right? Our spacecraft as a hub and a station as a hub, and it kind of indexes towards one type of gameplay or another. A spaceship is really great for exploration. And traveling between locations, obviously, because that's what spaceship does. And then the station as a hub is great for social interactions, intrigue. The examples they gave us the Iron Ring, which I think is in the adventure that Brian and I are both not going to read, and y'all aren't going to read with us today. Or like a moon colony, something static where there are people living there. There's power structures, and there's the ability for power struggle, power vacuums, and intrigue play. Starting your hub. So your hub is going to start with a power source and a set of core functions. As the game progresses, you can add on additional modules and like increase what it can do. For the power source, I'm gonna skim. I'm gonna give you all the skim version.
Yeah. Skim.
For the power source, you have it supplies an output power, an OP, which limits the number of additional like units and modules that you can have. The engine needs fuel. At 0 fuel, life support works, but you cannot use anything else, essentially. And it's not, you can't travel in any meaningful way. So you can get stuck in fucking space with no fuel and hope that someone picks you up and hope that the people who pick you up are not going to try to kill you. Yeah. So core functions.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. What's up?
I said, spoiler alert. They absolutely will.
Yeah, they're definitely going to.
They 100% will try to kill you.
Yeah, those void shamans in that broken down ship that stopped, they're not stopping to help. They're stopping to spread the word of the void. Yeah, so core functions, all hubs are equipped with the core functions. And these do not cost any OP, output power. They're just things that you have. And
one of the things I love about this too, is, again, this isn't necessarily a space horror game. And I love that if you basically hit 0, you don't all just die. You just hit 0 fuel. And I love that the base shit that your ship has doesn't require any fuel. Like, there's no, like, if that's all you did and you ever decided to go get modules and stuff, you can still run adventures. Like, I like that your base shit doesn't cost anything, and you can just go, which is cool. Again, like you said, broken down shit, but you can just go.
And I like that, like, you know, I feel like in some of these space games, it's like, well, if you run out of power, you have so long until you die. It's like, not for this one, baby. You guys could be stuck for fucking months, you know? Yep. I would have you guys stuck for weeks. You get to write how you're having cabin fever and going fucking crazy because you haven't left your fucking ship in a month. But yeah, so core functionalities, right? First and most obvious, we have the command center. This is the bridge, the hub, where crucial systems, scanning, communication, steering, for spacecrafts only, work. Crew quarters, it's where people live. Cram, sweaty, with room for a bed per person and not much more, is how they describe it. Life support's gonna be your oxygen, heating, your central air, or whatever. Artificial gravity, and then garbage disposal. Your mess is the place where everyone sits and eats together. Eats their gruel, their synthesized, what do they eat in the Matrix?
Exactly what came into my head. It was literally just like gruel that they were just like talking about chicken.
Needs,
what if it tastes like chicken? Yeah, no, just sludge.
And additional modules. The hub starts with without any modules. To upgrade the hub, after it's been created, the crew has to find or steal the modules. I like this as find or steal, or obtain them as payments, I guess, or big favor. They have additional modules on 114 through 119.
And that is linked.
We have another step by step for building, which is hub type and frame statistics, power source and power output, an output power, hub background, and then hub quirk. So same thing. We have a 6-step for making a character. Yeah. We have a 4-step for making the hub. And frankly, I love that. Read this whole section, and you could just go down to the 4-step and continue from there.
And I love that. Not only, again, the color coding is great, but like that it explains before you start. It's a step-by-step process, super easy, and then gives you big numbers for each individual step. It's so easy to go through this. And I've read other ones that are easy to read, but when you fucking number it, like, it makes it really, really easy. Especially, there's a lot of people that sometimes doing a tons of reading can be a little bit difficult. So when you can just go step by step and it's numbered, it makes it a lot easier. I do wish they would use Oxford commas, but I'm gonna, okay.
You would. And like personally for me, like, I have a very quick internal processing speed, but I have very low internal memory. So the less like stuff I have to read to take in, the more like processing power I can free up to planning the game, if that makes sense. Like, these things are like incredibly dense. Like, the more I have to read and like internalize that really heavy reading, and it's like, man, fuck, I'm here and I'm trying to be in the game building already. Which with this I totally am, So let's do step number 1, which is hub type and frame statistics. So like your character, or like like enemies, right? There's a defense rating, which we're familiar with from every game, but especially Merc Board because they call it DR as well. So you have a starting spacecraft and a starting station. The starting spacecraft has a DR of 11, a max condition of 5, and a fuel capacity of 6. Starting station also has DR 11, max condition of 5, and a fuel capacity of 4. So less fuel, but doesn't really fly around. Yeah, everything starts in kind of a state of disrepair. And the goal is to kind of make it better by scavenging or doing jobs or whatever. Yeah, cool. Power source and output power. So a spacecraft, as a standard chemical engine is slow with an output power of 3. A station has a standard industrial generator with an output power of 3 as well. Starting stations require 1 unit of fuel per session. That sounds like a lot, you know. Output power. The output power limits the number of modules, like we said before. Core function is not affected by output power, but each additional module has a power cost. The sum of the power cost for all the modules must always be less than or equal to the hub's total output power. It makes sense. That's how math works. By modifying and upgrading the power source or exchanging it for another type, the output power can be increased. So maybe someday you get a solar engine, you know, or a solar generator for your ship, you know?
Well, also, I mean, the more you add to the ship, realistically, the more power it's going to cost, the more fuel it could potentially cost. Like, it's kind of like the more money, more problems situation here.
Absolutely. That's my life, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I love the art on the bottom of this too.
The station. Yeah, I love
the
this.
Station?
Yeah, once again, it's that like blueprint rendered art that's wild detail. It's very, very cool. And then in the next 2 pages, we have another spread that's this really cool looking spaceship that, like, you know, it looks like a spaceship. Like, it's not super duper like pretty. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Like, it is pretty, you know what I mean? But it's not like some spaceships are ultra stylized, and this is not. Like, it is like, no, you've got modules connected to it. You got your antennae. There's a bridge at the front. It looks like what a fucking junk ship in the future would look like, you know?
Yeah. And then it's got this honey guide driller attached to it. And I like that there's people on it to give you a little bit of scale.
Perspective, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Because, I mean,
Very cool.
it's a big piece of machinery, but if that's all the space I had in space, I'm not necessarily super claustrophobic.
You're like,
but I'm not a submarine guy. Yeah, fuck no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fuck that. And yeah, this as well. It's the same thing. So maybe
a spaceship is just a submarine in space. Like, it's the same shit.
Okay. Yeah. Hey guys, hot take today. Spaceship is just a submarine in space, which is true, you know? Cool. So we're moving on to, we have hub backgrounds. I think, Ryan, you and I should both roll once on each of these tables. We're going to do the spacecraft one first. Each, the spacecraft and the station have their own. So
right. I rolled a 20, an old Chrome ship once run by serially connected Chrome mainframes. Today, only the communication system remains, which has an annoying personality. It's so good for the DM.
That's fucking sick. I also rolled, actually the one you rolled probably my favorite on this list, and this I rolled actually probably my second favorite. It's hard to tell. I like a couple on these, but played a major role in the Gem War.
Dope.
You have an old fucking war-torn ship. Your fucking ship ID is known around the sector, and it's fucking like, oh fuck, that's the Ebon Hawk, you know? I told public.
I mean, there's some other really, really good ones though. I like the one that used to be a well-known memory brothel.
Once lost for 30 years in a black hole.
Dope. I think there's another one later that I was thinking of, or something else where someone knows of your ship. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, these are all super cool, super dope.
Yeah. Well, let's roll some hub backgrounds on station. I'm going to go ahead and roll. And then
this is what I was thinking of.
For station, has been used as storage for failed experiments. Strange crates are still uncovered every now and then.
Dude, what if they were like war experiments because it was a war-torn ship? I got 14, renowned as a black market hub for illegal weapons during the war.
Very cool.
Which again
there's
makes sense.
A lot of there's a it's great game runner fodder, you know, like
oh my gosh, every single one of these is an adventure seed. It's so cool.
Oh, some of these are several, you know, it's an episodic adventure seed, you know.
I love 18 is probably my favorite, obviously. because me. But void runes are carved into the hull. Everyone knows about the hub and always starts their sentences with, I'm not superstitious, but
6. An infected AI killed the last crew, was deleted. Probably.
That's an adventure right there. Easy. Oh, so well done.
The role tables are so good. Really great piece of art that looks like it's a frontier lander. So I think it's a lander unit.
That comes off the ship, I think.
Yeah, it's very cool. And like, I love this. It's not like this movie video game spaceship that's just like, it doesn't make sense that it looks so clean. Like, this is like all these parts were added to it. It's all function. Form is secondary. It's very cool.
And I do like it. Just whoever did the art, again, I think it's Christian, put a person on every big machine like this for scale, which I love.
I didn't even notice the people on this one.
The two people,
they're
two people
small.
here and here. Yeah. So it's still a big piece of equipment. So yeah, it's dope.
Very cool. Cool. So I move on to hub quirk. God, I love these roll tables and I love the background and the options because it just gives you so much to work with,
Yep. And one of the again, we talked about this right at the beginning. Not only is there an index, all of the tables are listed in the beginning on their own separate page. So if you want to be like, what was the hub quirk thing again? Right at the beginning, you can just hyperlink, click, and go right down to the hub table because there's literally an entire page just referencing all of the tables, so you know how many fucking tables are in this game, like a shitload. So that's a great resource. I rolled a 16.
Go for it. What was yours?
It was scrawled on a wall is call in case of emergency along with a number. The number goes to a person who can offer contracts to the crew.
That's fucking awesome. That's very cool.
Like a starter. That's like a starter adventure seed right there. Like when
absolutely.
Because you start with like, hey, you just found this spaceship or whatever. You go in and there's just like this is scrawled on the wall. Dope.
I rolled an 11. A trans-dimensional presence has always been here. It seems helpful.
Dope. That's so cool.
It seems helpful.
It's really interesting that they give so many of these like quasi NPCs. That really gives a lot. Like there's AIs everywhere. There's these interdimensional presences. There's like what amounts to basically like space ghosts on your ship. And they're like a lot of these tables have that, which is so great for the GM to use in a way that can push people into direction or influence things in a kind of a more subtle way than just been like, here's a thing, let me thrust it on you. You can easily have like the AI or the presence or whatever do it in a way that seems much more kind of believable, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah, this is a good game so far. It's a good book.
It is. It's a good book.
This was the last step. So time to die in space. And we're on to this another great big red cross. I like it's like at the beginning of every section, there's the cross in the color the section's going to be in.
So good. It's so good. I'll tell you what, the first time I really flipped through this, although it is incredibly clearly color-coded, didn't notice it as much. I didn't.
Really?
But like the second and third time I read through it, I was just like, wow, it's not just cool colors, it's color-coded by section. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this one's all red, which I love, black and red. And this is the general rules of the game. It goes over the 4 abilities, which you've already talked about. Body is melee attacks and healing hit point, surviving, all that kind of stuff. Dexterity is your DR, dodging, climbing, balancing. Savvy is perception, intuition, street smarts, piloting, etc. And tech is your ranged attacks, understanding operating systems, constructing gear. I really like that you don't need 6. 4 works.
No, you're fine. 4 is plenty.
Yep. And again, the base of the game feels like Merkborg. Considering they're both Stockholm Quintel, I would be shocked if this, wasn't just considered basically like a Merkborg. I wouldn't say a Merkborg hack. It's definitely its own game, but it's definitely got the Merkborg bones.
It takes influence from Merkborg.
Yeah. D20 plus relevant skill. With a DR greater than 12 is kind of the entire core mechanic of both games. When a player character attempts to resist a hazardous effect or overcomes a challenge, that's what it is. D20 plus relevant ability equal to or greater than 12. The task is successful, otherwise it fails. But this is the interesting part. On a failure, the player character suffers a complication or setback and gains one void point.
Gains a void point.
But I like the suffers a complication or setback. So it's not like Merkborg in that you failed, you kind of just failed. This kind of adds in, that kind of quasi-powered by the apocalypse, like, when you fail, failure always has a consequence or a complication, which I love. I think that would be a lot better even in, the standard Dragon games and everything if a miss wasn't just a miss,
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love if they just put in something that was even like the DR is 15. If you get within 3 to 5, it's like a mixed success and less is a complication. That'd be so much better. So opposed rolls are exactly what it sounds like. If in the case where an attempted task is directly opposed, both parties roll D20 plus their ability. On a tie, the initiator, so tie goes to the runner. In this system, the initiator or most active party wins. Advantage and disadvantage is exactly what it sounds like. When there are rare situational factors that give someone a significant edge, they roll with advantage. Similar disadvantage, you just roll twice using the better result or the worst. And then item slots. I've been really obsessively looking at inventory in different games lately.
Yeah.
There was nothing besides that. I just have been. So item slots. A player.
That was a statement that led nowhere.
Nowhere. A player character has 12 plus body item slots. Items taken up. They take up 1 slot, but if they're unwieldy, they take up 2. So if they're bulk or anything like that. Many smaller items can be grouped together in 1 or several slots, and as a general rule, each slot holds 2 kilos, and a kilo is 2.2 pounds for all of us dirty Americans. Carrying too much weight. If you carry more than 12 plus body items, you have disadvantage on all actions. That sucks. So mathematically, roughly, with some statistical variance, disadvantage on a D20 or advantage is a plus or minus 5-ish. So basically, -5 to your roll for carrying too much. Don't carry too much.
It's pretty steep in a game where your stats are negative, potentially.
Negative, yeah. Considering, again, my entire stats are 0, 0, 0, -1 somehow. Yeah, sucks. If the reaction of a non-player character or creature of the crew encounters is uncertain, you roll 2d6 and consult the table. I like that the reaction table is a 2d6 because it gives you a bell curve. So generally, you're going to get uncertain because it's 2 is hostile, 3 to 5 is unfriendly, 6 to 8 is uncertain, 9 to 11 is talkative, and 12 is helpful. So statistically, the odds that they're either hostile or helpful are very minimum. You have to roll 2 1s or 2 6s. And everything in between is unfriendly, uncertain, or talkative. And basically that allows the player's actions to really navigate whether it turns into combat or not, which is really cool. Great piece of art here. Has to be some type of cultist or something. Someone kneeling down with one hand up.
Oh, yeah.
But there's this really kind cool. of it's like half shaded. They look like they're armored, so potentially, but also the face.
I think they're chrome.
I think that's like a cyborg or something, or I think they're chrome because you see some stuff on the neck here that almost looks like wiring a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's got the crosses on it. Dope, really cool. So getting into void points, the cost of failure. There's something out there
void
that
points, dude. Cosmic mutations. There's
something out there that is constantly watching, avoid, always grasping at your inner thoughts. Each failure opens door a bit. So you gain void points by failing ability checks or attack rolls. And you can actually use, each time you do gain 1 void point, you can have 4 at most, and you can use them for stuff. So 1 void point can be used to gain advantage on an ability check or attack roll, or activate a cosmic mutation. Yeah. So this is where you can kind of lean more heavily into space horror a little bit.
Yeah.
So cosmic mutations.
It gives your players a consolation prize for failure.
Yeah.
You failed. You got a void point, but later on you can use that void point to make something else better. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy it. Rewarding failure because you do all. It's not just that you fail and that's it. And it's not even just that you fail and there's a complication that sucks for you. I do, like you just said, the kind of consolation prize is you fail and it sucks for you, but you also get this void point that also kind of sucks, but is really cool because of some of these cosmic mutations, but is also a little narrative seed for it too. because when you have a cosmic mutation, you have to explain it and like describe it and do all sorts of stuff. So it's like further enforcing, you know, their narrative play in the game, which is really cool. So when the mechanics enforce the narrative, good job.
We do like that.
We do like it, like the blues. The mutation represents physical manifestation of the void through the player character. How to obtain a cosmic mutation. You can get it as a starting bonus. You can get it through character advancement, or in rare situations when the void is let loose, or obviously, well, yeah, when you have enough void points to actually use it. So using your cosmic mutations, when you activate a mutation, it requires you to spend 1 or more void points. The effect lasts around 10 minutes and can be activated from a range of 10 meters unless otherwise stated. The more points you have, the bigger the cosmic mutation can, you know, create as an effect. And the player and referee can agree on the outcome and consequences of the spent points. So it's not like, oh, cool, you get this cool mutation. Like you get, like shits can be bad too. Like you get to potentially use something that can help you, but it's going to harm you a little bit too. Player decides the necessary details of how a mutation manifests. And you can have void corruption. When you lose control and let the void surge through your body, it can leave behind permanent scars. If a void point is spent to gain advantage and the roll fails, you roll 1d6, and if the result is equal to or lower than the current amount of void points after you have spent one, you roll a void corruption effect. No void point. Right now. Yeah, no void point is gained for the failed roll. So yeah, so you get, there's a 1d20 table of void corruptions.
Yeah. I rolled a 7. It starts to grow inside you, a living empty chasm. It fills your eyes and veins with corruption as it moves around, trying to get out. Every time you roll the same result again, you are pushed towards a transformation. Fuck.
So good. So good. So every time, basically, to sum that up a little bit, every time you fail at a roll, you get a void point. If you can use it to gain advantage, or you can use it for cosmic mutations. If you use it to gain advantage and fail, you roll to get a void corruption. So good. So good. Again, like reinforcing stuff. I rolled a 16, which is subtle but awesome. And you grow an extra set of teeth.
Fuck,
just a second row of horrifying teeth. You get like shark teeth. Roll that a couple times and you just got rows on rows of teeth. Yeah, it's dope. And I don't know why they put the cosmic mutations after the void corruption, even though it comes first.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's here, whatever.
And I also don't know why they did 1 through 7 on one page and then broke it up. 8 through 20 on the other. As opposed to, and if it didn't all fit, why the first page would have been the longer page. I mean, it's a cool piece of art on this page.
It's like a cool piece of art. It's like the void breaking through or whatever.
Yeah, it's a void and there's just red lines coming off it and there's a cross and everything. And it obviously leaves space for that, but you would think that if they did the whole thing on the first one and then a half page on the second, they could have put that art on the second page. It's just a weird little bit of, I wonder if it's just a weird spot in the book or something. Anyway, do you want to roll a cosmic mutation?
I did. I rolled an 18 cosmic somatosensory system. Can touch something and get a word, picture, or feeling of what happened to the object recently. Very cool.
Nice. And then I rolled a 15, which is 2 hearts. You can run, climb, jump, and lift twice as much as usual.
You're a fucking Time Lord, bro.
Yeah. But again, so I got 2 hearts and 2 sets of teeth. So again, though, there's it says that you have to decide on the consequence, and this only lasts about 10 minutes, is what it says. Did I miss that?
Hold on, let me go back up. Scrolling up.
Yeah.
Use
Yeah, it lasts around 10 minutes and can be activated from a range of 10 meters.
So which is 30 feet. So more points can result in a bigger effect if the player and referee can agree on the outcome and consequence of spending points.
Okay. So
it's for bigger effects.
Yeah, you could just get bigger effects. I would, man, I wish you could get void corruption for like too many void mutations or something. Or if someone wants to spend extra points, I would make them do void corruption.
Yeah,
I think that's what
absolutely.
I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can like have a bigger effect. You can spend multiple points, but you're going to roll on the void corruption table. And you might end up with fucking, an eye that has a whole galaxy on the inside of it, or you become infected by an anarch program or some shit,
This is a kind of game too where like you're probably gonna die, so rolling up the character is cool, and rolling on all this stuff is super cool.
Did you roll for a fucking Cosmic Mutation?
I did. I got 2 hearts and 2 teeth, whichever one was first. I think I got 2 sets of teeth on the corruption.
Yeah.
My mutation was because it's a little bonus. The mutations are the 2 hearts let me run, climb, jump, and lift twice as much as usual for 10 minutes or whatever. So yeah, cool.
20 black hole monster can create a portal and from it lure a creature. Roll a random creature, page 94, and roll a reaction with a -2 modifier.
So you just pull a monster through the fucking void.
And it just might kill everybody, you included, you know?
Yeah, that's the end of the campaign. Sorry, guys. TPK, good job. That's what you get for failing.
I've done that before. We played the 40K ttrpg, and I was one of the psychers. And every time you use magic, you have to roll on a failure table. And I rolled 100 on the failure table, which makes you go to the worst failure table. And I rolled another 100, which was the worst outcome. And it summoned in a demon. And the game master was like, dude, you guys, like, there's no way you guys could live through this. You're dead. I'm like, oh, cool. So
awesome. I wouldn't have been like, oh, you're dead. I would have actually brought the demon in and fucking just wiped you all out and been like, but. So in the game, you actually play as a number of different origins, some of which are somewhat alien, some of which are, you know, carbon-based life forms, some of which are AI or mechanical-based life forms. So, yeah. So conditions and spare parts. Conditions. Most objects are patched up, fixed, or repurposed beyond recognition. The current state of some objects is represented by their condition value. The maximum condition is mainly a measure of how technically sophisticated the object is. I love the conditions in here. It's the condition of your stuff. So weapons and electronics have a range from 1 to 5. Spacecraft and small stations and big machines have 5 to 12. And other objects have no condition value. Reducing a condition every time an object with a condition value, including a spacecraft or space station, is used in a stressful situation outside combat. Roll 1d6, because there's ways to lose condition in combat too. On a 1, the object's condition is reduced by 1. You roll for condition when using the object, spacecraft, or space station in an ability check, or when time is tight and success is crucial for combat in hostile situations, blah, blah, blah. Breaking objects at 0 condition, it breaks. I mean, obviously. If a station or spacecraft becomes broken, either by reduced to 0 condition or 0 frame integrity, emergency power runs life support system, and that's it. All non-essential systems stop working, including the engine. But you can have spare parts, which are used for repairs. There are 2 types, components or vehicle parts. Components are PCBs, wire, or other small electronic parts that are used for repair weapons and electronics. 1 unit of components takes up 1 item slot. And then vehicle parts, large parts and materials used to repair broken spacecraft, space station, giant drills, satellites, and big drones. 1 unit of vehicle parts takes up 5 item slots. I like this. Again, the inventory section, much like Viking Death Squad, you only get so much, but you have to have those, like the armor pieces on you or you're dead. If you don't have spare parts for your weapons or spare parts for your ship, you could be dead.
You're fucked.
So
yeah,
fucked, hardcore fucked. And there's a really cool picture of a station, and parts of it says broken hydroponic farm, broken med bay, operational solar panels, broken high gain antenna, and then escape pods. It's so, again, like you said, the blueprint schematic style. Yeah, so good. Another cool piece of art here. It is the Ambio Total Artificial Heart Pump ATAP, constructed from a durable segmented polyurethane solution, high failure rate, condition 3, 600 hollows, batteries not included. It is literally a mechanical heart.
Batteries not included.
Batteries not included. It says execution error, sending message in need of repairs, ventricular failure. So cool. Like, and I love that it gives you this cost. Like, you could totally have a freaking mechanical heart. What is that? It's a space opera, but they turned it into a movie too, where there's these mechanical organs or whatever. But if you can't pay on it, they come take it back from you. And there's the people that do it. It's got Jude Law.
Repo Man.
Oh, yeah. You could totally have one of these hearts and someone could just take it back. Do all Repo Man's Death in Space.
I actually never... Is that what it was called?
I think Repo Man, a space opera, was the original.
Repo Man.
Repo Man. I think it was Forrest Whitaker and Jude Law, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it was. I never saw that actually.
I liked it. It was good. Repairs.
Rotten Tomato didn't like it, so
yeah. Well, I also like Waterworld and Battlefield Earth, so
I love Waterworld.
So good. A movie doesn't have to be great. A movie doesn't have to be great to be enjoyable. You know what I mean?
I super agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bad parts are enjoyable.
That's exactly. So anyway, when you do repairs, a player character can either pay someone or use spare parts to repair it. Finding spare parts is what the adventures are for. You can talk to merchants. You can get it as loot for payment. You can dismantle machinery, which is another thing you can do. There are rules here. So when you dismantle electronics and weapons, you pick it apart, and it gives you 1 unit of components and takes 1d6 hours. And when you dismantle vehicles, dismantling a vehicle gives its current condition value plus 1d6 units of vehicle parts. And it takes 1d20 hours to salvage vehicle parts. This is talking about all with repair electronics and weapons components. You repair 1 condition point with 1 unit of components. For broken items, the first condition point requires a number of components equal to the maximum condition value. So basically, if it completely breaks, it takes a shitload right off the bat to just do the first part of it.
Right.
And then you continue to have to use parts. Repair time is 1d6 hours. For vehicles, it's pretty much the same things for repairing 1 unit of vehicle parts, but for broken vehicles, the first condition point is the maximum condition value. It takes 1d20 hours. And if you pay for repairs, it costs 30 hollows for 1 condition point. For a tinkerer, for items and for vehicles, it's 300 per 1 condition point.
300?
Yeah. But the repair time is halved. Because great. Someone who actually knows what they're doing does, right?
Right.
Cost includes the necessary spare parts, and the cost can differ. So if you go to a repair, you don't necessarily have to have spare parts if you know you can get to someone who can repair it, because the cost is included in the repairs and halves the thing. But you gotta have the coin to do that. Off-world stuff. This is talking about extra vehicular activity suits. So it's a light and heavy EVA suits. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a heavy EVA suit when you rolled, right?
I did. I actually got a light as part of my initial thing and a heavy as part of my bonus because my stats are so terrible.
Bro, you're rolling in the EVA suits, man.
I know, right? So you get 2, a light and heavy. EVA suits are equipped with 7 hours of oxygen, 2-way communication, display for the wearer's status, cooling systems, pressure regulation, umbilical cable, which the wearer can connect to life support. Yeah. A can of repair foam for unexpected damage like bullet holes and magnetic boots. And a suit's oxygen supply is marked in 7 steps on the character sheet, and you get 1 step for every hour in the suit. So you can only use the suit for 7 hours. And if you take damage in an EVA suit, the suit immediately loses 1 step of oxygen. You do not want to fight in an EVA suit. As a referee,
that makes sense.
Yeah, be sure to convey the stress of the situation as the oxygen is gradually lost. Yeah, you're in space. It's like being under the ocean because a spaceship is like a submarine.
It's like a submarine, but in space.
Yeah. So light EVA suits have 0 defense, 3 item slots that can be carried, and it takes 5 minutes to don it. There's no thrusters. You can instead use a manned maneuvering unit, MMU, which I assume is like the NASA spaceship, just kind of like backpack with some thrusters. It's nitrogen thrusters, same as the heavy, but when you're doing that, you can't climb, dodge, perform any task that require dexterity. You're literally just zooming in the thing. A heavy EVA suit has, defense rating of 2 against melee weapons only. 5 item slot carrying, takes 30 minutes to don. It's heavy and unwieldy, suitable only in low gravity. It's powered by nitrogen-propelled thrusters and protecting its jagged rocks and radiation. So that one at least has a DR. So you're not totally fucked if you start taking damage.
The other one you're kind of totally fucked if you take damage.
Kind of totally fucked. Yeah. Cool shot of a person in what I think is a heavy EVA suit. Or, again, it reminds me of like a NASA suit. Big thing on the front and back. And it's talking about lack of oxygen and exposure to space. If you end up without oxygen, without a source of oxygen in space, you risk falling unconscious. In the vacuum of space, without a suit, You can stay unconscious for 1 round, 10 to 15 seconds, but any exposed liquid, such as in the eyes or on the tongue, immediately boil away. So, I mean, your eyes and tongue basically melt, and you can only survive 1 round before you just die. In a suit or on board a spacecraft, you can be unconscious for 1d6 minutes without oxygen. When unconscious without oxygen, a player can survive for 1d4 minutes. After that, they must roll a body check per combat round until dead or rescued. And if a check fails, you're dead. It's not a series of checks. 1 check,
it's a
you
check.
die.
1 check can kill you. Brutal, man.
So brutal. All movement in 0 gravity gives disadvantage on dex checks. When firing a weapon, it propels you backwards and it takes a round to regain control. And there is no limit on how far a projectile can travel. Space travel, this isn't something we really need to go over too much.
Are you saying there's no inertia in space?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, it'll push you back, but the bullet can go forever. Yeah.
It was a joke.
Space travel and risky maneuvers. To push the engine or making a risky maneuver, a pilot succeeds on a savvy check in a stressful hostile situation. Failing on the roll costs a fuel. So if you do a risky maneuver, it costs fuel, and you only have X amount of fuel. And fuel-wise, launching from planets with low average or high gravity costs 1, 2, or 3 fuel respectively. Failed risky maneuvers cost extra fuel. See the table on the inside cover for all fuel costs, which is listed on those. Long distance travel, one should plan carefully where to buy, extract, or steal fuel. At 0 fuel, travel and trying risky maneuvers is impossible. Life support is the only thing that works. Long distance travel, obviously, you can go into cryo sleep, or you can do bridging if you have the capabilities, and that's basically that like time, like it's like hyper speed, hyper warp, whatever you want to call it, warp speed stuff. Bridging is rare and expensive, and jumps are made at the most a few times per year. There are complications. You want to roll a d6 for...
I would love to roll a d6, bro. I've been dying to roll
3 d6. Roll 3 d6.
First one's a 4.
So travel within the system. You would have rolled a counter. I would roll an encounter as a complication on page 100. All right. Travel between systems.
Second one's a 2.
Your spacecraft loses 1 condition as you travel between systems.
Yeah. Fucking asteroids and shit. And another 2.
Your spacecraft loses 1 condition as you travel between galaxies. Yeah.
So it's roll cryopod or bridging malfunction. Spacecraft loses a condition, and then
you roll an encounter. But if you roll a cryopod malfunction, it affects 1 random player, and that could mean when you wake up, because when we get to the table, 1 player is just dead.
That's brutal.
Or roll a d6 on the cryopod malfunctions table.
I will. 4. I'm rolling 2s and 4s today.
Okay. You awaken the pod during the trip, but unable to move, and you act aggressively for a week. Basically, you're it's like you wake up during surgery, but you're still paralyzed, and you're just stuck that way the whole time.
That is a fucking nightmare. What?
Yep. Some other fun ones are age 3d 20 years, or hair and fingernails grow 1d4 meters and turn white.
Dude, 1. The pentamycet milk mixture pentamycetic milk mixture that keeps the user in spin animation fails. The failure creates a mental bridge to something beyond. Roll on the void corruption table.
So,
and you bet I'm talking to my player character when they go to sleep. They're gonna have nightmares of something talking to them.
Oh, absolutely. Want to roll a 1d6 on the bridging table or bridging malfunctions?
I rolled a 6.
Go for it.
The whole Bridger spacecraft ends up in between dimensions. Beyond the edge of the universe, it is stuck in a warped unreality filled with swirling, colorful clouds and a cacophony of shrieking sounds where all time exists simultaneously and nothing is predictable. Anyone who returns is changed forever. That's holy dope. Fuck. I would have to end the session right there. I'd be like, you have to end the session right there because I have to write now this next session. So
whatever time it is, yeah. One of my favorites is number 1, which is kind of the exact opposite of that one. It's roadkill. The Bridger and Doc spacecraft are covered in the remains of something that was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, fuck.
There's a cool graph for travel time, which is cool. There's 3 options: slow, faster, bridging, and it's instant, weeks, months, years, decades, or millennia. So within the system, slow travel takes months, fast is weeks, bridging is instant. Between the systems, slow is decades, fast is years, bridging is weeks. And between galaxies, slow is millennia, fast is millennia, slow is impossible, fast is millennia, and bridging takes months to go between systems. So it's literally impossible to go between galaxies if you don't bridge.
I don't think your shitty spacecraft's gonna survive a millennia of fast travel with you in cryopod.
Absolutely not. There's a cool spread here of a dude with a gun, and it says Committee of Salvagers. Salvagers are towing crews, travel. Okay, I'm gonna go back to a single page because it's small. Salvagers and towing crews travel deep into space to look for spacecraft, abandoned or not. They travel in ships with powerful engines and lots of fuel, and wait like vultures in faraway sectors for any spacecraft that is broken or running out of fuel. Mining ships are occasionally spotted with a whole committee of salvagers in line behind them, all hoping for a big score. So this is a great piece of art, first of all, and a great little seed where when you run out of fuel, boom, committee of salvagers, baby. Gosh,
I just almost knocked over my pencil holder. My glass pencil holder.
Well, why do you have a glass pencil holder when you got cats?
It's fucking fancy, bro. Look at this shit, dog. It's pretty.
I mean,
as
yeah,
fuck.
it's fancy. Yeah. But cats, you know. Combat. Combat rounds. Combat is structured into rounds representing 10 seconds each. You can perform an action and move about 15 meters. Meter, for those don't know, is about 3 feet. It's basically a yard for us Americans.
What's a yard?
Initiative. So initiative and turn order is interesting. I like it. I want to check it out though. So let me tell you about it. The one who initiates the conflict begins the first combat round. If it's unclear, you can determine randomly, right? When a participant has taken their action, they pick the next one to act, either friend or foe. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you pick your friend?
Because maybe something that you're doing like next will because I mean if you do all friends in a row, then all 4 foes are going to go in a row after.
That's
so you can
very
break it up, or you can do something. Say that you move forward towards a bad guy and you say you want your friend next to go to you, or say that you want your friend to be able to get away or whatever. You go, then the foe goes at you. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I'm sure it'll come up, and obviously this is the thing, but let's see why. This process continues until all participants have acted in the round. The last person chooses who begins the next round, and they can choose themselves. So in italics, it explains this a little bit. It says, this method of determining turn order reinforces the idea of the player characters as a crew acting together, since they can choose a turn order that combines their actions in a strategic manner. So I can only imagine that at some point having the bad guy go not all in a row or something strategically would be a good move. You could also try to break it up. Like if you and me are going to work together on something, I could pick you next, and then we could let a bad guy go and then let someone else go so it's not all together. I don't know. Seems like the strategy. That was the point. It's interesting, though. I want to see it play out.
Yeah, I would like to see it play out as well.
Yeah. Still like that better than the stack and troika. An attack is resolved. Rolling 1d20. Add the player's body to the roll for melee, tech for ranged. If equal to or greater, the attack is a hit. You roll damage and subtract the result from the defender's current hit points. If lower, the attack misses. Obviously, that's how d20 rolls work.
Yeah,
the
that's
DR
how it works.
is DR is 12 plus dex for an unarmored person. Can increase with armor. Risky attacks, much like risky maneuvers on spaceship are a thing. A risky attack can deal more damage to the opponent, but exposes a player character to danger and counterattacks. Roll a standard attack roll. This kind of feels like the Barbarian's reckless attack, kind of, in the Dragon game,
right?
You know,
in that one,
if successful, not many people know it, so I wasn't sure if you knew what I was talking about. If successful, The attack deals an extra damage die, which is pretty dope. But if it fails, the targeted opponent immediately gets a counterattack against the attacker in addition to the regular action in the round, and chooses who acts next in the round instead of the attacker.
Huh. Okay.
So that's cool. That's cool.
No, that is cool.
Critical hits, obviously natural 20, you get to roll an extra damage die. Condition loss for weapons is cool. For weapons, condition loss is determined once the dust settles. So you can get condition loss during combat, but you wait till after combat to roll it. After combat, you roll 1d6 for each used weapon. On a 1, it loses 1 condition. At the end of every combat, you have to see if your weapon broke a little bit, which is pretty dope. And if the damage rolled in a if the damage rolled in an attack is the maximum possible value, one item carried by the defender loses 1 condition, and the attacker can choose the item, which is
very cool.
You get to break someone's shit a little bit if you do max damage. Cover and shield is pretty easy. You're either partially or fully covered. If you're partially covered, attacks against you have disadvantage. If you're fully covered, you cannot attack, but nothing can attack you from range. And shields are bulky and provide full cover for the bear and can partly cover one more person. They require 2 hands to carry. So you're literally rocking a giant shield that fully covers you and partially covers someone else. But if you're holding that shield, you can't attack because you take full cover.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would definitely let people just like pick shit up.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Enemies in combat, stats wise, an enemy has a defense rating, hit points, morale, attack bonus, or ability values for humanoid creatures. If there's no value presented for an ability, assume it is 0. So I like that. They don't all list everything. If it's not listed, it doesn't matter. And an enemy example is a corporate mercenary, body +2, dex +0. Well, I guess I could have just not listed that. Savvy -1, tech +2, DR 14, HP 6, morale 9, and they have a Procyon raid rifle. Morale. Whenever circumstances require, NPCs can roll for a morale rating. It's a 2d6. If the result is higher than the morale, the enemy attempts to flee, surrender, or parley. Examples of events that trigger morale roll is defeating half of an enemy group, reducing a lone enemy to half hit points, or defeating the leader of a group. In addition, contractors test morale if they are not paid, or if they're not combat trained and are pushed into peril.
Makes sense.
I think
I'm not dying for you, bro. You didn't pay me.
Exactly. Death and healing. When someone ends up at 0 or less hit points, they are dying and must roll a body check. Void points can be spent for advantage. If successful, the person is stable and unconscious. If they fail, they are dead. I love this part. Death in space. It's not only the name of the game, it's the name of this.
Yeah, it's a thing that can happen, yeah.
This was not how you were meant to leave this universe. As the last drops of life leave your body, you have a final vision, accompanied by deafening static. When a player character dies, roll their true death from the table on the facing page and let the player narrate the way they were meant to die to the rest of the table. Afterwards, let the player create a new character that can join the crew as soon as possible. This reminds me of a little bit like in Orbital Blues, when you decide to go guns blazing or whatever.
When you can fucking go out guns blazing. Oh, dude, that's...
Yeah. Not with the stats and all the rest of it, but how you get to like kind of narrate your way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like, if you die in game, you're supposed to have a true death, and your character gets to roll and figure out what their true death was supposed to be. Is that what this is?
Yeah. Yeah, you basically, as you're dying, you get a final vision that comes into your head, like through the static, of how you were actually supposed to die. It wasn't supposed to be whatever bullshit way you just died. It was supposed to be this other way. And roll a d20 and see how you were actually supposed
12.
to die.
Your mind is permanently put on hold after being infected with mind hacker ransomware, with the blackmailer long dead. So you've been infected by a mental hack virus, but the person who made it has been dead forever. So you're stuck now.
Yeah. Maybe everything that you've actually experiencing that didn't really even happen.
Oh, fuck.
I rolled a number 9. I have a vision of slowly drowning in my own Ava suit helmet after a cooling system failure.
Ooh, spoopy.
I don't want to give a spoiler away for a movie you haven't seen, so I'm not going to say what this really reminds me of. But
what movie is it?
If I tell you, I at least give you part of it away because you understand the concept of this death thing.
Horizon?
No, but Event Horizon's such a good movie.
because I actually ended up watching half of it. So.
You only watched half of Event Horizon?
I did only watch half of it. I was really drunk and I fell asleep.
You've never seen the rest of it?
I've not. So it seems like our stream is having some technical issues.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if maybe it's... Yeah, I think it might just be because we're not having any bitrate issues and I'm watching our other one and it seems fine. So, yeah, maybe we can hop on the phone or something and check it in a second. But
yeah,
we'll see. So moving...
Spacecraft confrontations, baby. This the shit. Oh. Huh. You want to restart it real quick?
No. So we'll just have to push through it.
All right. Well, sorry, everyone. Spaceship confrontations. I'm going to take over for a little bit. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I actually haven't really in depth this section, but I really do like, this is what we all want to fucking do, man, is fucking fight with spaceships in space. Combat between spacecrafts is unusual due to the large risk of losing your ship, which is a cobbled together piece of shit you're barely holding on to, and how expensive repairs are as well. The hesitance to destroy valuable parts has resulted in unspoken agreement with confrontations between spacecrafts instead of often ending in boarding or flight. So confrontations with spacecraft are costly, and so they're going to end up with you guys boarding and duking it out, or everyone's running away. Rounds in turn order. Strict turn order starts with a spacecraft makes the first hostile action. Turns are longer than in a personal combat, about 10 minutes per turn, because it takes time for spacecrafts to move and act. The crew members on each spacecraft act in the order they wish before choosing which ship acts next. If they are last in the round, they must choose another ship to start the next round, which can also be them. Non-hostile situations. Until a ship starts, hostilities go back and forth between the player spacecraft and other spacecraft and let them do something one at a time. Talk it out, prep, something like that. Hostile situations, when someone makes a hostile action like firing or attempting to board. Strict turn order starts. If unclear, determine who begins with an opposed SVY check for all involved. Actions on a spacecraft. Anyone on board a ship can take an action when the ship acts in the turn order. So it's like bracketed turn order, right? So you have ship 1, ship 2, maybe ship 3. And so on ship 1, you go through all the crew, then to ship 2, all the crew, then ship 3, all the crew, and whoever the start of the next round is, which is decided by the last person in that round. General actions: piloting, fleeing, pushing engines, setting up defenses, writing a final goodbye note, morbid, jumping between ships. Modules required: hostile boarding, gunning, jamming communications, and hacking systems. Only one person can act as a pilot per round, and you're probably going to put the person who has the highest savvy as your pilot, because they'll be making these savvy checks. Risky maneuvers. They're like we've gone through before. Risky maneuvers are required for most piloting actions in the confrontational situation. They can resolve with a savvy check. Failure costs 1 fuel. With a success, the pilot can move 2 distance steps in 1. And I think there's a visual representation of distance coming up here in a little bit. Distances. In a confrontation, the distance between the player's spacecraft and the other participants is divided into 4 ranges: detection, identification, firing, and boarding. Each distance has a different function. First detection happens here as a blip on the screen. Ships can communicate via radio. Identification: close enough to scan and identify spacecraft, including what they look like, symbols, and affiliation. Firing range is going to be the range in which you can fire from. It's very, very well named. And then the boarding range, I'm going to let you guess, is the range you can board from. Yeah. If you go down the bottom of the page, there is that visual representation of detection, identification, firing, boarding, and boarding. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Totally makes sense. For movement, the pilot can move the spacecraft 1 distance step on their excuse me, turn, or like we said with the risk maneuver, 2 distant steps on a successful risk maneuver. And when the player spacecraft moves, move all other spacecraft 1 step on the map. Gotcha. Referee-controlled spacecraft move their own ship 1 step on the map on their turn. So everyone moves on their turn. Fleeing. Outside hostilities, a spacecraft can flee from the confrontation freely if it can get beyond detection distance without anyone interfering. When engaging in hostilities, it's obviously going to be rolled an opposed savvy check, right? Everything in a spacecraft for the movement is going to be a savvy check. This one is opposed, so you roll savvy against whoever you're opposing, the hostile ship. The fleeing pilot flees from all spacecrafts. They roll higher then. So that means if you have 3 spacecraft coming after you and you outmaneuver 2, you still got 1 to worry about. Any hostile ships that roll equal or higher, they stay at the same distance, basically. They stay, like, if you were at identification range, they stay at identification range. In hostile situations, failing to flee from all other spacecrafts costs 1 fuel. Boarding. Boarding is what we all want to do. We all want to fucking board and fight. What's up? You were about to say something. You had the face on.
Oh, no, I said that sucks. That if you fail to flee, it costs fuel. Because as soon as you run out, you done fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah. They're going to board you and they're going to kill you. Or not, you know? At boarding
maybe
distance,
they're nice.
Yeah. Modules can enable boarding. How boarding is accomplished and what ability checks are needed depend on the module used. For example, locking the other spacecraft in place with harpoons, is a tech check, and then jumping over decks to weld through the hull. Man, that's a very analog way of doing it. It's like there's no transporters, right? There's no no, we shot harpoons in them. We rode a zip line on the harpoon over, and now we're welding. It's like, fuck, man, that's tense as fuck. Firing. At firing or boarding distance, you can fire at either of those. Spacecraft with guns can fire on other spacecrafts with a tech check. A result equal to or above the defender's defense rating is a hit, obviously. Subtract the damage from the defender's current frame integrity. If a successful attack from a spacecraft's gun hits a person, it will kill them outright. So if someone's coming on their way to the board and you shoot them with a gun, they're fucking dead. Conversely, handheld weapons, handheld weapons can only cause damage to a spacecraft frames in exceptional cases. Interesting. Condition lost. When turn order ends and hostilities are over, roll 1d6 for every person who made a risky maneuver or used a module in action. If at least 1 die shows as a 1, the spacecraft loses 1 condition. In an attack against another spacecraft, the target spacecraft loses 1 condition if the attack inflicts maximal possible damage. So much like in combat, person to person, max damage, destroyed 1 item or 1 item integrity. The same thing here, except it's just integrity of the spacecraft as a whole.
I like that. I mean, realistically, for the most part, it's the same as regular combat. And I like that it's got like a tweak to make it fit a little bit better, but it's not a completely whole new system. I mean, even the way that you create the hub is the same system for the most part.
Creating the character.
Just a couple of different names, and that's about it.
Everything's
so it's
super
easy.
in line. Yeah. Yep. And it kind of we're almost just reiterating on the rules because they're pretty much the same.
Pretty similar, and I like that. I mean, if you do an entirely different system, that's also fine. I think Orbital Blues does like a kind of a pretty different system than like character creation. I think they have some parts of it, but there's a lot of extra bits and pieces.
Yeah, it was something like that. It still wasn't very confusing or anything, though.
No, it wasn't very confusing. It's just I think both are. I think there's pros and cons of both, and I think both are incredibly valid. I like though that this one, because this does feel I think Orbital Blues is pretty streamlined, but that this again, it's kind of just reinforcing and running the same thing. So I like it.
Yeah. Frame damage. Damage to a spaceship is tracked through its frame integrity, which is 100% at unharmed, and damage to the frame comes in steps of 10%. Pardon me, sorry. And this represents temporary damage that does not require spare parts to repair. It's your, your hit points essentially, right? You rest and repair. Hit protection.
Yeah.
When the frame is reduced to 50% roll on the spacecraft disaster table, and at 0% frame integrity, the spacecraft is broken. I keep wanting to say spaceship. And its condition is reduced to 0. So you're
space submarine, whatever you want to call it, man.
Yeah. When your space submarine rolled, frame recovery, when all is calm, the crew has had a few hours to handle urgent damage to the spacecraft. The craft regains 1d6 times 10% of its frame integrity. So the best that you can get back is 60%. Which if you only took 40% damage, you might be okay. Also, you can get 10% back, which kind of sucks. But spending at least one night at a calm space station or a peaceful planet or moon, regain all lost frame integrity. If the spaceship is broken, it cannot regain frame integrity, so you have to repair the condition first.
And again, if it's completely broken, it costs so much to get that first bit of condition in.
Much.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Non-player spacecrafts. It is up to the referee to keep track of distances between non-player spacecraft. Non-player spacecraft always have a pilot, and any other actions available are determined by their modules. Stat-wise, they have values for defense, DR, condition, fuel. Yeah, they have stats. Continues on page 12. Hey, let's roll a spaceship disaster.
Got it. I rolled a 6, so the main computer is destroyed, corrupting all data in the spacecraft from AI to logs and personal letters. That sucks.
I got 10, which is the water tank system fails. Large blobs of cold, dirty water float through this whole ship. Spacecraft loses one condition. It's a leaky boat.
Can you imagine just blobs of piss and shit filled water just floating around your spaceship?
Rough.
I know this is super random, but I opened the book and I found the stickers. So I'm going to show those real quick.
Oh, cool.
The one holographic stickers. This is the spacecraft that's got the what's it called by it? I'm actually just going to kick over to this window real quick. Yeah. It's got the cover of the book sticker all holographed out. And then the Death in Space 99%. So yeah. So it sounds like, I think advancement is the last part of this. And then I think we're just going to skim through the rest of the book. Do you want to do advancement or do you want to take that over?
Yeah, I'll do advancement. Right. I've scrolled down a little bit. I was looking at the Tenebris system. Didn't you name a part of the Tenebris system?
I did. We'll get to it.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that I want to make sure we talk about that because I want to know your name because I actually don't know. Although if I had to guess, it'd be the name of the system. Advancement. At the end of every game session, discuss and answer the following questions in the group. Each positive answer gains 1 XP to the player character. I actually really like this way of doing advancement. I've seen a couple systems do this where it's have a discussion at the end. Each one of these things that you do, is 1 XP. Did you repair something? Did you deliver on a dangerous contract? Did you use at least 1 void point? Did you discover a new and potentially dangerous place? Did you gain a new enemy? Did you find someone new that you can trust? Did you contribute with something especially memorable? Accumulated XP can be spent on improving a player character. So for a cost of 5, you can increase an ability by 1, raising it at most to a +1. So the 5-point cost, you'll only ever get about +1. For 3 times the value raised to, you can increase the ability by 1, raising it to +2 or higher. That's a steep increase right there. And then increase maximum hit points by 1d4 for a cost of 5. Gain a cosmic mutation. 1 ability must be lowered by 1. Determine mutation randomly for 15. Oh, that fucking sucks. It's cost 15. And you can get a cosmic mutation, but you're going to lower 1 ability point, and then you're going to determine the mutation randomly. So it might not be one you want. And then for 15 XP, gain 1 additional origin benefit, and can have at most 2, which is fine because there's only 2 for now. Oh yeah, so advance is pretty simple. and your characters are going to fucking die. So that makes sense that advanced is pretty simple because your character is going to die.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the end of like the very crunchy functional part of this game, which like really was only, it started on page like 12 for the create character, and we're on page 60.
12 to 60. That's it. So what, 48 pages?
Yeah, and I think that's not bad at all. And a lot of it, in each of the sections, there is a bunch of text that explains, and then there's a more functional part, it looks like. So it's like you really don't even need to deep dive all of it. And kind of when you understand part of it, you understand the whole. It all flows together really well, and it all kind of works the same. So
yeah, absolutely. And like we said, like the player creation and the combat and stuff like that works really similarly across the hub and the player characters.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that goes through character creation. We hit this nice chartreuse color here.
Chartreuse.
Yeah, good color. And this is the extras. We're just going to cruise through the extras a little bit. The principles of the system. Basically, it's talking about, I think this feels like a GM section. So nothing is new. The world is old. It's been rebuilt over and over again. It talks about communications that are local and direct rather than open and wireless, and hacking requires plugging in. The war is still present. It only ended 10 years ago. Oh, fuck me. There we go. Yep. I kicked over for the stickers and forgot to go back to the game. So for all you listening, you're good. All you watching, my bad. So principles with this nice chartreuse color. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and read principles for me?
Sure.
No, I'll do.
Let's just skim principles.
Yeah, nothing is good. Communication is old. The war is still present, as in they're still veterans. It was only 10 years ago. Distant stations are
10 years ago. Like it just fucking happened.
Distant stations are silent. Barely anyone knows what is going on at the outer rim space stations or in other stellar systems. Traveling takes time, which we talked about already. It says, who wants to live forever? Time is perceived differently when you put life on hold in a cryo sleep. Although too much cryo can do things to your mind and body, human lifespans are not the limiting factor that they otherwise could be. Talked about involving the players and letting the players create the details, and use rulings over rules. And then we have a breakdown of the Tenebris system. So we will very quickly skim through that, because, you can get a map or you can buy the game.
Buy the game. It's a good game. Yeah. You should buy this game, It's
for pre-order. Go do it right now. So there's a cool graphic here of all of the jump points that lead to the Tenebris system, because navies go out and set up these buoys. These navigation buoys. So instead of jumping across a huge section, you jump from buoy to buoy to buoy, so it's a little bit safer and it's a clear pathway, is basically the point. And the Tenebris system is got one buoy left on it. So here is a 2-page view. This is the entire Tenebris system here. For those that are listening, it's a really dope 2-page spread map of these various rings around the system with these listed locations. And it's got a color-coded system again, where there's near locations, close locations, habitable zones, far remote, and the outer rim itself. And the iron ring is considered a far distance from the center of the system. Going back to individual page, we'll scroll down through the map. Tenebris 59.8582 is the last active bridging buoy. And basically this says that there is a lottery to decide if your ship is allowed onto the bridger ship that comes through very infrequently. And if you do get a ticket to that bridger ship, you, my friend, actually get to hop on. Yeah, you are for sure. And you actually get to go somewhere the fuck else. It's not the Tenebrae system. It's rare. There's very few tickets, and it comes through very rarely in order to take that. And then again, it goes into a pretty lengthy section of locations, which are great. We're not going to go through them pretty much at all, except for Inaro, which is a yellow moon. The yellow moon is a perfect growing ground for gem roots. After decades of mining, the strange roots now lie exposed and harvested in abandoned shafts, once dug deep into the earth in search of the pods that house the valuable stones. As the center of the Gem Rush, the most destructive battlegrounds of the war took place around Inaro, and although the Gem Rush and the war is history by now, a few desperate seekers still drill into the moon for small pieces of the precious gems. Otherwise, the barren surface is mostly covered in carcasses of huge mining machines, abandoned smelting facilities, and rust-covered vehicles. The atmosphere is thick and yellowish, heavy to breathe, and greatly limits visibility. Around the moon is the Iron Ring, a belt of repurposed spacecraft and satellites where most of the activity in the Tenebrae system is centered. So on the map, Inaro is right next to the thing that marks the Iron Ring, and I think that's outside of where the beginning adventure starts. If I'm not, I could be wrong because I haven't read it, but yeah.
Right.
But it goes through a number, like pages of different places, and then it has
which one
another.
Did you make?
Oh no, it's a different section. We'll go over that. So it's not the. It's these are big locations like.
Oh, you guys made like cities like within or locations within the bigger locations.
Small locations within the big locations. Yeah. So this goes to a 2-page view of the mining outpost con PM28, which is another schematic view of
cool.
badass. It's so cool. And then there's actually like a ship underneath it here on the bottom left, so you get even more scale, especially how small a person is. It's pretty fucking big. So that's pretty dope. And then more locations and more locations and more locations with more great
locations.
It's a ton of locations.
And you got the cults after that.
Yeah, the cults are cool. And I know Pele Nielsen added the cults section, so I don't know if this is all him or he just contributed to it. But there's some cool cults here. The Lyad Somnium, channeled to become an isolated, self-preserving group of distorted beings. And on each cult, they have looks, beliefs, goals, leaders, scarcities, abundancies, and keywords listed, which is pretty dope. So you get a history of each cult or a breakdown of what they are. You get what they look like. These guys are elongated limbs, regenerated eyes, and some tufts of long hair. Belief system, goals, leaders. I like the keyword section. Stillness, sparse electric humming, fresh smell of vivid plants, optical illusions, static noise. I like that instead of doing like a personality or something like that. The keyword section gives you these kind of options to go off of or directions that these people could be in. And I really enjoyed that. Like the next cult is Materia First. It says protect with surface. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but their keywords are social, sociopathy, flatter, hidden elitism, sudden ostentation, betrayal, kindness, and rage. So bunch of fucking psychopath, sociopath, narcissist there. Interesting.
I like the next one, TTO, to the other, beyond the void. Their keywords are inscrutable, earnest, shadows, whisper, temporarily incomprehensible, and obsession. These are really cool. We also need to stop at 78 is Welcome to the Ring, which you cannot read. So we need to go down to 94.
Past that. Yep. Scrolling. Yep. I'll get there.
Or I think it's 98 on the PDF.
Ooh, here we go. So yellow takes you down to tables and tools. You want to tag through some of this stuff?
Let's make a roll on each table. We're almost done, and I know we're both trying to get out of here by 1, so we still have to rate. So let's just roll on each table. I'm going to roll on Creatures of the Abyss, which is our first one. But yeah, we have a bunch of really cool tables, and you know that we are little bitch boys for tables, to be quite honest. I rolled a 1 for the Creatures of the Abyss table. Apsis ape, hairy and muscular, great jaws filled with spiky teeth, intelligent and lethal, enjoys mimicking and abusing its prey. Fuck. Special, I'm not gonna read the stats, but special 2 and 3 chance of acting first in the combat round. So I can just go first. Yeah.
I'm going to roll as well, and I got I got the same thing you did. I like the Neon Harpy. Hiding in the dark corners of some stellar systems are these colorful creatures. Their wings shine with a holographic effect, and their tears shoot sparks. They live with the same partner their whole life. Those who have lost their partner are angry and depressed. So pretty dope. And they can steal memories and create holographic images related to a player character's memory.
Well, that's fucking sick.
Yeah. Yep. There's a ton. And there's some great graphics on here too. Like this bottom of page 95 has this enormous fucking creature on it.
Fucking horrifying.
Yeah, fucking horrifying.
Okay, I think our next one is Corrupted by the Void, which is a D6 table.
Yeah.
I got a 4, Port Fanatic. The unlucky victims of a void infestation quickly lose their minds, sharpen their teeth, and start performing horrible acts against their own bodies. Fucking awful.
Why don't you just keep going and keep rolling?
All right, cool. I'm gonna go. So after this, we have Deep Space Nightmares and Navi Tales, which are just stories that the Navis, I guess, share from space that can kind of give you some fuel. I'll do the Star Eater. We'll just read that one. Some Navis who have traveled far to distant systems talk of the Star Eater that roams the edge of the universe. They say it is the reason why some stars in the sky have gone dark. Ooh. Actually, there's also a Super Hydra. In Forgotten Corners of the Iron Ring, mass cultists worship the Super Hydra, the mythical serpent of the abyss, with 1,000 maws forever feeding on its phosphorescent vortex. Fuck weird shit. Cool. Triggers. Combine a trigger with an obstacle and use when the crew explores dangerous locations. So this could be like, these are like pressure plates, like a laser beam, stuff that you can set off, heat detection, sniffer, really cool. And then there's obstacles under that, which are like EMPs, pipe bombs, shit your people are going to come across to make their time worse. So this whole back section is all just tools for the referee. There's space encounters. There are more space encounters, Iron Ring locations. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's all just roll tables. We're not going to go through all of them. There's addictive substances. Wow. It's really, really cool. And then after that, God, more roll tables, man. There's everything you could possibly need in roll tables.
What page are you on at this point?
At this point, I think we're on 109s where this really cool DNA art piece is.
Oh, so if you scroll back to Iron Ring locations, why don't you read number 61 to 62?
Tenebrous Temple of Mercy Relief Fund. For victims of cryosleep gone wrong, they treat amnesiacs, late wakers with friends and family gone, and some worse off who babble about the end of civilization. Hell yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was yours?
That was mine.
That was a cool one, yeah. Tenebrous Temple of Mercy. Hell yeah. It's pretty cool.
We have somebody who uses mercy a lot, huh?
Yeah, we do. We have also somebody who uses the word tenebrous a lot, you know?
Yeah. So yeah. What page are you going to 109?
Yeah, I think at the rest of this.
Why don't you give me a roll on the addictive substances real quick?
I'll do that, yeah. What is it? A D what?
It's a D. Fuck it. It's just a list. So how about roll 1d20.
10.
No, it says roll 1d20 when using an addictive substance. On a natural one, the player character opens a door they should not.
Yeah.
So I'll just randomly pick one. How about whatever antigraphene is? Blocks nerve signals, causing user to become numb and unable to move. Used for cheap illegal prisons called pits, or voiding, where the prisoner is drugged with and Titrafine and put in a pitch black room with 0 gravity. God, that sounds terrible.
Fuck, that's rough.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely fucking awful.
But yeah, so the rest of the book is all really just tools. They have weapon laid out, like crews you can generate for NPCs or enemies, like archetypes for that. Contractors that you can hire, general contractors. There's an NPC generator in the back. And then I think there's on the very, very back 2 pages is like a cheat sheet that has like all of the basic information on ability checks, items, void points, void corruption, repairing objects. It's really a very handy thing to have on that fucking back. And then we have the back cover. And that motherfucker's is death in space.
Let's do a slow roll through the last little bit here. A lot of great art, a lot more graphics.
Yes, the art's still great. The tables are great. I think that's something I would definitely use. But I think on stuff like this, we try not to go as in depth in every single roll table now because there's so many fucking roll tables.
So many roll tables. Yeah. The weapon section is great.
The weapon section's fucking sick, and there's some cool weapons, you know?
They actually released bonus weapons on like Twitter or Instagram too. I think maybe even from the Kickstarter where you get like 1d6 extra weapons, I think. I'll have to show you those. And then the final 2 pages, just like in Merkborg, are the cheat sheet, all the base rules you need broken down into just 2 simple pages. Super great.
Every game should do that. Every game should do that. Period.
Absolutely. 100%. So we are getting into the game review. I'll do the same spiel I do every week. When we do the scores of the game, we're just a couple assholes that read ttrpgs, so don't take this too much to heart. We score in 5 categories for up to 10 points for a total of 50. The first is art and style, which is the art within the book and the style of the art that is used in the book. Is it like an art book like Merkborg? Is the art used well? Is there big blank empty spaces? Layout and function is not artistically how the book is laid out. That goes with art and style, but like, are the pages easy to read? For function and stuff, is it hyperlinked? Is it easy to navigate as a PDF? Is it easy to navigate as a book? Does it work well together? Are the categories in the correct section? Rule set and crunch is if it's a new rule set. Is it good? If it's an old rule set that's being hacked or whatever, how well is that hack? And crunch is, does the amount of rules within the game feel like the appropriate amount of rules, whether it's advertised that way or whether it just feels like too much or too little. Originality is a broad category that talks about the originality across the entire thing, whether it's the lore, the mechanics, other aspects of just, is this interesting and different? Value is important. If something's too expensive, we can't play your game. Value takes into account the cost of the game, what you get for how much you spend, and if there's a bunch of extras like free adventures, third-party license, online generators, things like that. So, art and style. What are we hitting up for art and style? This is
a great book. It is not quite an art book, right? It's not Merkborg, but it's got a lot of art. I mean, there's art fucking everywhere. It looks really good. It reinforces the tone. I mean, for me, I think this art is an 8, easy.
Oh, interesting.
Whoa. Interesting, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, I was almost ready to give this a 9. I mean, I think the art thread is
I'm
gorgeous.
not opposed to giving it a 9 either. What Merkborg is a 10, right? Yeah, I think then this is probably, a 9 sounds good for me as well.
Yeah. If we do what we do and reference things that we do otherwise, I think the only other Warp Into the Odd got a 9. No, I'm sorry, art and style. Orbital Blues and Kingdoms got a 9, and Viking Despot got a 9. So this is easily a 9.
Easily as good as
a 9. Yeah.
This is a 9.5, frankly.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Layout and function. So I think outside of Troika, this is probably and Into the Odd, and I'll take partial credit for giving friend of the show y'all know our hard time. One of the best functionally done PDFs, especially. Period.
Absolutely.
I think.
Well, even the order in which you learn the rules helps for the next section of you reading the rules. Yeah.
Every time, and I think the color coding is fantastic. I think the hyperlinked and bookmarked. It's hyperlinked as bookmarked. Not only does it have a table of contents, it's got the tables page because there's so many fucking tables.
You can just go look at the tables you need.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
And every like reference in line to another page is linked to another page. It's so great.
It's the color coded.
The only thing I think that Troika has above and beyond it is on each page how it also links you back. Yeah, it links you back to the beginning of the chapter and to the table of contents on every page. I mean, that's such above and beyond.
It is, and usually I'm like, oh, well, it sucks doesn't have it, but this one on the other end has the table of contents bookmarks. So if you have it open on the side and you're reading a line, and you click there, you can just go back and go to character creation, and you can go to whatever section you were in. You know,
yeah, absolutely. That's that's why bookmarks are so important, but above and beyond the hyperlinking.
Yeah. Personally, I always prefer my games to start with character creation.
We've talked about this.
And we have, and I feel like that. And so that's a major point for me. I think for layout and function, this is a 9.
It's a 9. Yeah. That's not even a question.
That's two 9s in a row off the bat.
I know. I think outside of Troika, this is easily one of the best well laid out as far as functionality, reading, everything, books that we have reviewed, period.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Into the Odd also got a 9, and Red Giant also got a 9 because they have
both those things make sense.
Yeah. I mean, the layout on Red Giant was just disgustingly good. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Rule set and crunch. Again, it's got the bones of Merkborg with right. But it's also got the risky maneuvers. It's got the consequences. It's got the void points.
And it's consistent. Every rule, the way that you understand a rule for person-to-person combat is the way that it is understood for space combat, only slightly tweaked. But once you know it, you know it's not confusing pretty much at all. Yeah, this rule set, this is a fucking what Merkborg get. I mean, I actually like these rules more than Merkborg because it has a double layer with the space combat. And I think it's a 9.
Merkborg got an 8 as far as our rule set was considered. And I think it's those bones, but it's got more. And I like also little things like the way you do your stats with the 2d4, the d4 minus d4. So smart. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm happy with the 9 on this one too.
Me too.
Originality.
This game's fucking cleaning up.
Yeah, but so for originality, I mean, the rule set's cool. It's interesting. Yes. I don't think there's anything that blows anything else. There's no part of this really that blows anything else out of the water.
No, I think it's a really great put together game. I think the themes are really good. I have seen the themes, and they do follow like kind of I don't want to say tropey like a negative because sometimes things are tropes or cliches because they work really well. And this is an example of it. Like, yeah, it's space, and if you travel far out, shit gets weird, which is kind of a trope of a dark space adventure, and that works, you know.
It works.
I do like the element of there was a massive war and it just ended. Because a lot of times in games we'll see, or game worlds will see, oh, there was a massive war like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and people are still recovering. Like, no, this is 10 years ago. You know, there's a possibility for running into people who are out of communication and still think the war is going on. You know,
I mean, impossible.
I really like that.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Especially based on other scores we have. I mean, Lancer got a 7, and as far as originality, this feels about the same to me.
Yeah, you know? I would say this is about the same as Lancer. Actually, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
What got an 8?
Warpland, Into the Odd, Ark, Mothership, Orbital Blues. I think this is a 7.
I think a 7 is good for this one.
Yeah.
And that's not a dig on it. It's a great game, and it uses its space really, really well, you know?
Yeah. Again, when we do a final score and all this stuff like this, it's not about the total score is just a way to grasp kind of a totality, but it's more of like, look at the parts that you really like. If you like arty books, check out the art score. If you like that, I mean, again, like you just said, just because it has tropey bits in it does not mean it didn't use those tropes extremely well and done in an extremely good way, which it did. Value wise, how much is a pre-order?
It's $32 before shipping, and I think it's like $7, $8 in shipping
For this?
Yeah, for that.
Only $30 for.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 40 after shipping.
Okay, so including shipping, a book that looks like a fucking special edition with foiling all the fuck
really
over.
Nice book.
And 2 ribbons and everything. We talked about like softback and PDF, like 120 pages was average for like $35, right? We're talking gorgeous foiled hardback with shipping, and I assume you get the PDF for only $40.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You get, they have the character generator, and I'm not sure about how much third-party stuff there is yet.
Well, we do know Escape Sequence Xeno is working on a third-party product.
Yeah, we have Escape. Yeah, absolutely. And
but also the product hasn't.
This game,
Well, yeah, there's going to be a ton, and it's not released to the general public. If you didn't get the Kickstarter, you don't have this shit yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? But and then the generator is freaking dope.
Sure,
there's actually dope. Do you have the link to that Death in Space generator?
I'm gonna drop it. I'll drop it right now.
Oh, character generator right there. Got it.
Beat you. Yeah, it's really, the character generator is really cool too.
It's so cool. I mean, I actually want to show this real quick to people. No, just do the link. It is.
I just
Death. Did. Yeah, he put it in there. So for those that aren't watching the stream, they're just listening. death-bbs.makedata.lore.dev is the generator, and every time you refresh, it's a different color, and it gives you, or you can click on render new life, and it gives you name, hit points, DR, like literally everything. And it's got this cool little thing in the bottom right called Deathy, which is basically Clippy, the paperclip, but it's Deathy. And when you click on it, it says something. I want to be like you. Yep, you've got it. You're strong.
You're amazing.
I believe in you. You are special. Yeah, don't believe in the void. Super fucking cool. So honestly, straight up cost, if that's all this book costs, that's insane. It's easily could be charged a lot more. They could easily charge 40 plus just for the hardback and PDF, like before shipping and everything. I thought this would be closer to like a Viking Death Squad cost book, even though that's, in pounds and stuff. You get the character generator. It does have a third-party license that was part of the Kickstarter, and it's already on the website. You can check out. There's third-party content already. Dude, this is easy. I mean, gosh, what do we can even compare this to? Like when we compared it to Merkborg had a 10. But Merkborg had a 10 because of the Merkborg cult, where they had like literally you could get the game for completely free because they published those last 2 pages, and then you could run every class, adventure, and everything completely free off that website. And at this point, they have like 5 generators. This is damn near up there, though. What are your thoughts on the value you get for this?
So I think value is a like you get a lot for $42.35 was what it was after shipping. You get a lot, but accessibility wise, $40 is still a good amount of money. I think that this is probably, in my opinion, an 8.
I'm good with an 8. I mean, the thing is, we changed from price to value because it's bang for your buck. You know what I mean? And I think for $42, this book is disgustingly beautiful. And again, has like special edition style extras, the foiling, the ribbons, all that kind of shit. And realistically too, page feel. Let me tell you what, these are thick pages.
There's a lot of tools in there. There's a lot of, we didn't even really look at the locations at all. You can have a lot of adventures in one of those locations and never leave it, Yeah.
But I mean, I'm telling you, when you get this book and actually feel the page, the Viking Death Squad pages felt really thin. You know what I mean? These are thick pages.
I'm gonna rub my face against my head, bro.
Dude, it's so good. I think this is an easy 8. I think this might be the highest reviewed game we've ever reviewed.
The score is a 42, just like the price.
Really?
Yes.
It surprises me a little bit because I don't know how math works.
That's true. You're not a very mathy guy.
This is easily, for a 42, I think this is the third highest score we've ever scored.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a really good game.
Merkborg still takes a cake at a 44. Necro Nautilus at this point, because we bumped up the rule set score and value score, has a 43. Right. And then after that is Death in Space at a 42. The only other thing that even has in the 40s is Kingdoms. And that's because that game is fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, that game's fucking
I'm
cool.
sorry. Into the Odd, and Kingdoms are both 40s. Right. I'm super good with where that falls. Behind Merkborg and Necro Nautilus.
I think it's great.
I think that's great. Yeah,
this is a really good game.
Super, super solid and consistent across the board. 99978 is crazy.
That
I'm
is really crazy.
Super excited to play this game. And again, for those listening, we are actually on Thursday here on the Adventure Archive on the actual play side of the channel with Jason, our usually Merkborg DM. We are going to be running a Death in Space campaign starting with the 0 session Thursday at 7 p.m.
God, I wish I wasn't in class, bro.
Dude, if you weren't in class, we need another player. I think we just have the three of us.
I want to fucking play.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
2 more weeks of Thursday classes, y'all.
Yeah. And that is it. That, my friends, is motherfucking Death in Space.
Death in Space, baby. We did it. We got
so
Death in Space. We reviewed it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got out of there. So thank you all so much for being here. I know you got work to do. I got to go to bed. Listen, I know social media says we're supposed to do a call to action. Do us solid if you're listening. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. All of the links are listed on our link tree, lanktr.ee/theadventurearchive. Definitely please subscribe to us on YouTube. That'd be great. We're pushing towards 250 subscribers, which is an awesome
and just love
milestone.
Letters, say our name in your sleep.
Yeah, do all of those things for us. Dream of us. Watch the podcast and see our pretty faces.
Sacrifice animals to us like we're dark gods.
Yeah. And follow us here on Twitch too. We're at 490 followers. We are 10 people away from 500, which would be crazy. So do us a favor. Follow us on all of our shit. And also just have a fucking wonderful day, people. And you too, Hunter. You have a good day, friend.
You too, Ryan. Farewell, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.